Welcome to the stream. All right, let's get right to it. Up until yesterday, before today morning, we're now in Saturday afternoon. We're early afternoon Higurashi streaming. The plan as of yesterday was to just read a bunch of Higurashi today. And then I played some Valkyria Chronicles last night, and I kind of have a hankering to get back into that. So I'm actually going to read a bit of Higurashi today, and then we're going to play Valkyria Chronicles um, for the rest of the day. So maybe not as much Higurashi as originally I thought. It's not going to be a super short Higurashi stream. Hopefully we still read quite a bit of chunk here. 2, 3, maybe 3.5 hours. Who knows? But because we're not reading a shit ton, I will say, I will promise we get back to Higurashi Tuesday next week. So it won't be a full week. Scout's honor, or whatever that means. So yeah, well, in the stream, we'll just read, we'll chill, we'll read some Higurashi, and then we'll play some Valkyria Chronicles for the rest of the day. Big stream of Pokemon tomorrow is the plan. That should be, hopefully, a most of the day thing tomorrow for the stream. And then we'll go from there. Let's see. Also, since the last Higurashi stream, was it just yesterday? Silent Hill F teaser trailer thing came out. I think it was like 3 minutes or so. Of course, being written or something by Ryukishi. A bit of a shame that I'm not really a Silent Hill person. And not only am I not really a Silent Hill person, I'm not much of a... I mean, Silent Hill has come through has gone through certain iterations and stuff, but I'm not much of a survival horror game fan to begin with. The genre just doesn't do much for me. So that's a bit of a shame. I don't think it's a game that I would end up actually checking out. But I am interested from afar. Like, I'm interested in looking, and I'm interested when it comes out. I'm very interested in how it's received, if that makes sense. Also, I have no idea of checking this, but I know, what is it, Syconia? The current When They Cry game coming out, and I know the fandom is massively waiting on more development on that and stuff. I haven't checked, so I don't know if this is how I should be feeling, but I'm curious if, like, I am very curious if, like, fans are, like, at all, do they blame Silent Hill F on lack of updates on the current When They Cry situation. Was it Syconia? I keep saying Syconia, but I don't know if that's how you actually say it or pronounce it, or if it's spelled that way. Because, as I said before, I'm massively blocking that out of my mind, because I have no reason to be thinking about that game until it's fully out. I'm not going to dedicate any brain cells to it. That is the rules. All right, so let's read for a bit. All that out of the way. Here we go. We are, let's see, where were we last? I think the extreme last bit was Rika confiding in Keiichi outside of the shrine, and she finally let him know, like, hey, our enemy here is actually Miotsukushi, because he said some stuff that really gave the morale boost to Rika, and Rika's like, oh, you know what, everything might be okay, kind of type situation. And I think that was the exact last thing. Prior to that, it was the whole, was it meeting up with, like, Shion and Kasai, getting the deets on people and stuff and situations. I think that's the case. I feel like I'm gonna sneeze, so I'm holding off on reading. Excuse me, there it is. Alright, here we go. The numerical tables being drawn inside my head were rapidly changing like a swirling vortex. They incorporated all the artificial and natural elements around me, and when combined, they began pointing me in a specific direction. Now, choose. The god of fate gave me a finite number of options and mercilessly pushed me to select one. My fingertips were trembling. They felt hot, yet somehow also cold to the touch. A foul, tense sigh rose up through my throat as my chest painfully tightened. Has this been going on a long time? Or was it only just a moment? Couldn't tell at all while trapped in this atmosphere of despair. A large volume of sweat came dribbling down my forehead and suddenly dripped down to my cheeks. Come on. Enough, just pick one already, Ki-chan. Mion leaned forward and glared at me with a terrifying look on her face. She was holding 2 brand new playing cards in her hand with their backs turned toward me, like telling me to draw one. You've been mumbling and grumbling to yourself for a while now. What, are you on a trip in your own little world? Come on, pick one already. Because this is the last one that'll determine whether you end up laughing or crying. I can't help it. If this is the divide between heaven and hell, anyone would want to take their time making their decision. I wiped away my dripping sweat and stared at the cards held out to me once again. This is totally unrelated, but there's an expression, trickling wet, used to describe a breathtakingly handsome man, and yet if you were to use the phrase trickling sweat to describe him, nobody would want to be near him. Yet both are equally moist. What a terrible series of words right there. I focused on something absurd like that as a temporary escape from reality. This story began an hour ago. After school, we had our classroom-scale club activities like usual, and Suguru, Okamura-kun, suggested a group-based Old Bachelor tournament. The rules are simple. We assembled into groups of 4 people. Top 2 winners in each group moved on to the final tournament, where we continued going through eliminations until only 1 person remained. Well, that's all fine. But the problem was, the usual punishment rules applied to all the losers. The younger club members seemed to have no sense of moderation, so they suggested some of the most shockingly absurd penalties. They whispered, challenge the principal to one-on-one combat and don't go down for 10 seconds. They whispered, drink a whole glass of milk from a cat's bowl without using utensils. They whispered, chew peanuts with your eyes, etc., etc. Ultimately, only the original club members made it to the end, so the others were facing certain death in the classroom. At this point, Rina, Satoko, and Rika-chan had gotten out too, leaving only Mion and myself. And the moment I was down to a single card, Mion challenged me to an open reach duel. Open reach, meaning that the winner of the entire game would be decided by whether the card I grab is the Joker. In other words, this long battle will finally come to an end the moment I make this choice. So, which will it be, Ki-chan? Hurry up and choose already. It's an interesting grunting sound. Mion had a fearless smile on her face as she shook the cards to provoke me. But the risk of losing and receiving a punishment is exactly the same for Mion, so where on earth is that confidence coming from? Come on, Ki-chan. The dead are calling from behind you. As soon as she said that, I could hear the resentful voice of the damned coming from behind me. Wait, isn't that the voice of one of the younger students? Come on, you guys. It's nice that you all thought of fun and interesting punishments, but you have to think about the fact that we're going to be drawing them too and show some moderation. I held my head and shouted back at Daiki, Suguru, Daiki, and the others behind me who had already fallen. Incidentally, the punishment Daiki drew was write a love letter confessing to the person you like, and so he enthusiastically put together the letter as though sealing it with his own blood. But he got his heart stomped by Satoko a mere 0.2 seconds after attempting this maneuver. Utterly stomped. Suguru drew catch a fly with chopsticks, so he spent his time running around chasing a fly. When he realized it was actually a wasp, he ran like his life depended on it. When he finally came back, he immediately sank to the ground. It certainly was a great opportunity to get to know the horrors of our club. It was a particularly exciting affair for the whole class. But of course, that's all built on the assumption that it's happening to someone else. If those sparks of fire were drifting my way, there's no way I'd be laughing. In fact, I'd probably want to cry. Oh, Keiichi-kun, hurry up and pick. Reina's been dressed like this for too long now. There's no way I can get married like this. Reina had tears in her eyes as she scornfully urged me to hurry. Indeed, if the way Reina looked right now was a... Oh, sorry, I had to check on that. Okay, indeed, if the way Reina looked right now was a character sprite in a game, it'd definitely have to be censored. If the way Reina looked right now was a character sprite, okay. Okay. It was so extreme that I, who was unfortunately called a contender for the Nobel Prize for lewdness, was hesitant to even look straight at her as she said that. Don't look anymore! Keiichi-kun, you'll definitely get your punishment for this, okay? Well, even though public order and morals didn't permit it to be displayed on screen, I can understand her desire to get changed right away. If I had to walk home in the clothes Reina was wearing now, I'd set off on a journey, perhaps overseas. No, maybe even beyond the edge of the solar system. An overseas journey? It's like what Dirk Nowitzki did when he lost... when he had a mental boomage and lost in, what, the 2006 finals? He had to go on a spiritual journey where he didn't even know if he was going to come back to basketball. It's my hero. Okay, me. This sort of attire was supposed to be a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Rikishan was crying and hanging her head while dressed in an Angel Mort/school swimsuit costume. I had a hunch you submitted that request, but he had already fainted, so he couldn't even appreciate it. It's like that saying about a crafty schemer drowning in his own scheme. Or maybe just a little different. Incidentally, Satoko is still passed out after receiving her punishment from the semifinal game. Eat an entire plate of curry in front of Chie-sensei, who is currently banned from eating curry, I say. Who thought up that mission? Impossible scenario. Listen to the screams from the lowest levels of hell. The god of death is dancing a waltz for you. Welcome, Ki-chan. Now, are you ready? This isn't funny. Not funny at all. Now, whether you'll end up laughing or crying, this is the end. Left or right? Which one isn't the Joker? Okay, so help me God. A man's gotta have fighting spirit. Oh, they're both fine. You know, when you don't have the might, you gotta pick left. I don't care if you're good or evil. Lend me your strength! I offered a prayer to the Almighty God, and put all my strength into choosing a card, and grabbed it. And sure enough... Huh? Hmm? Something wrong, Ki-chan? No, I think my eyesight must have just gotten worse. Even though I grabbed the 3 of diamonds, there's a picture drawn on top of it, of an old lady pulling down her eyelid. There's something very strange going on here. It seems like the thing right before my eyes shouldn't exist. Come to think of it, I've been doing a lot of tough stuff I'm not used to these days. I thought I was doing okay, but in the end my body's being honest. I'm probably just exhausted. Ki-chan? No good. I won't be able to fulfill my duties as class rep like this. Come on, Keiichi. Pull yourself together. I massaged my temples and wiped my eyes with a handkerchief, then took 2 long deep breaths. Inhale, exhale. Then, I took another look at the playing card in my hand. That's weird. Once again, I could see a wicked old woman on top of the Three of Diamonds card. Is this what they call an afterimage? Or a doppelganger? Ki-chan. I can kind of understand how you must feel, not wanting to see reality. But that's the Joker. Liar! 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 You're lying! But that really is a Joker. That's a Joker. Incidentally, Satoko is still passed out. No matter how you look at it, that's a Joker, Ki-chan. That's a Joker, Kechi-san. It doesn't look anything but a Joker. Reina, Rika-chan, Daiki, Suguru, and even Shion, who had apparently just arrived, all acted like I was delusional. Why? Why can't they see it? Can you guys really not see the Three of Diamonds engraved on this playing card? Wow. Ki-chan, if you really think this looks like a Three of Diamonds, it's time to take you to the hospital. To both an ophthalmologist and a psychiatrist. No way! Everyone, you're being deceived! You're being deceived! I'm sure, absolutely sure that I grabbed the Three of Diamonds! But in a modern nation governed by laws like Japan, decisions are made based on popular vote. So in the end, Mion was declared the victor, and me, the loser. Such a shame. Mwah? Ha ha. You're still too soft, Mr. Club Leader. Now, the long-awaited moment has arrived. Go ahead and pull out your punishment. Mion shook the box full of paper scraps with punishments written on them. She looked so happy, so energetic and full of life. Does human misery taste like honey to her? So, pick one already. Come on, pick one. Do it. Do it. Mion, I'll remember this. Oh my, that barking dog voice feels so lovely. Oh, by the way, I still want to see the punishment I wrote, so do your best to draw it. Punishment Mion thought of? How horrifying. I'm afraid to even think about it. Is it alright if I ask you what kind of punishment it is first? Here's an example. Eat a whole plate of the Shishibone local specialty, Yagochi stew. Yagochi stew? Why did I do that in the voice of like a delicious, a succulent Chinese meal? I said it like kind of like that voice. Get your hand off of my penis. Why am I just now thinking of that? Oh my god. A succulent Chinese. What's the crime here? A succulent Chinese meal? Enjoying. This is Democracy Manifest. That's a dish I'd never heard of. Come to think of it, the quarry for the dam construction project was located in a place called Yagochi. The villagers once told me it's located in the windward direction from Hinamizawa, and they used to spray pesticides via helicopters launched from there. Back in the old days, they used to catch a lot of masu trout over there. But nowadays, not a lot of people go there. So when I hear stew, it sounds like something completely normal. But what kind of dish is it, really? Right.
ヤゴの味噌煮込みが入ってる。
It's a miso stew, literally made of yago.
食えるかそんなもん。
Can you even eat that?
ちなみにヤゴはトンボさんの幼虫なのです。みー。
And by the way, yago means dragonfly larva. Meep. Rika-chan was kind enough to explain it for everyone around us. She said it like she was looking into a camera, but I could have done without the kind of footnotes. a certified The Office type moment, looking into the camera.
何言ってんのさ。
What are you talking about?
イナゴとかハチノコとかの料理前に出した時はケイちゃんもなかなかって食べてたじゃん。
I've brought food that contained grasshoppers and hornet pupa before, Ki-chan, and you ate it up, saying it was rather good.
あれと同じだよ。
It's no different from that.
虫だって教えられたのは食った後だったけどな。
But you didn't tell me I was eating bugs until after I finished. After hearing all that, my appetite vanished in an instant. I like to praise myself for not running straight to the bathroom.
大丈夫だよケイチくん。
It's alright, Kechi-kun.
レナのもまだ残ってるんだから。
Rina's punishment is still in there too.
それは喜ぶところなんだろうか。
I wonder if that's a good thing. I turned my eyes toward Rina, who said that to try and comfort me. Since that incident, Rina has been getting back to normal by following Mion's lead. That's nice, but Rina's punishment is still in there, so what could it be?
レナの考えたやつってどんなのとか。
Rina, what kind of punishment did you come up with?
聞きたい？
Wanna hear it? Ugh. Behind Rina's smile, I sense a terrifying and dangerous glow in her eyes. Correction, she's pretty much completely back to normal.
遠慮します。
I think I'll pass.
そう？残念だね。
Oh, that's too bad.
でも楽しみだね。
But I'm looking forward to it. Please, God, no matter how bad my luck is, let Rina's punishment remain hidden away forever. And by the way, Satoko is still passed out.
僕の考えた罰ゲームも残っているのです。みぱー。
My punishment is still in there too, Nippa! Rika-chan,
それ以上何も言わないでくれ。
don't say another word. I can imagine it without hearing anything more. If I pull hers, I'll end up holding a grudge against everything in the world.
まあそういうわけで。
So,
覚悟はいい？
So, with that in mind, are you ready? Every fiber of my being was telling me to run away. No, I'm a man. So, I put my hand into the box and grabbed the first piece of paper I found, then pulled it out without hesitation. And then?
何？
What is it?
すまん。読んでくれ。
Sorry, would you mind reading it for me?
恐ろしくて読めそうにない。
I'm scared to do it myself. I trembled and turned away as I held it up to Mion. Not much of a man after all.
まったく大げさだね。
You're totally exaggerating.
命取られるわけじゃないんだからそんなに。
It's not lethal or anything, so it can't be that
え？
どうした？
What is it? The moment Mion unfurled that twice-folded note, she tensed up and froze in place.
みーちゃん？
Mi-chan. And just when it seemed like she was about to start moving again, little by little her body began trembling.
みー？
Me. And then a bomb went off.
これ書いたの誰？
Who wrote this? Mion shouted in a voice strong enough to truly shatter the air within the classroom. And when she noticed the way everyone was staring at her, her face turned as red as an octopus.
どうしたのみーちゃん？
What's the matter, Mi-chan?
なんて書いてあるの？
What's written on it?
いやこれは
No, this...
まあケイちゃんには厳しすぎるからノーカウントってことで。
This is far too harsh for Ki-chan, so I'm not gonna count it. Mion rushed to hide the note behind her back, and she let out her shoes squeak as she immediately scrambled back toward the wall. What on earth is written there?
富田岡村。
Tomita? Akamura?
了解です。
Roger that. Huh?
こらあんたたち。
Hey, you guys! As soon as Shion waved her finger, Daiki and Suguru split left and right and moved around behind Mion. And then they swiped the note that Mion was slickly trying to tear behind her back, then quickly ran back to Shion and respectfully handed it to her.
いつ つの間にシオンさん、富田さんと岡村さんをあそこまで教育したのでございましょうか。
Shion-san, since when did you have Tomita-san and Akamura-san so thoroughly trained?
さとこ、ようやく復活したのですか。
Me, Satoko, you finally recovered?
なんか面白そうな気配を感じましたので、読み字より前戻ってきましたわ。
I sense something amusing afoot, so I've returned from the road to Hades. Too bad this one didn't sleep forever.
なになに？
What could it be? Huh?
好きなこと1日デートレポート必須閉じ。
Go on a date with the person you like. Report required. Whoa! Everyone in the class exploded in a roar that I seriously thought might shatter the windows. Wait a minute, go on a date with the person you like? Who is that supposed to be? I don't have anyone like that, do I? Everyone's eyes were focused on me. And then their eyes slowly turned towards someone else. Toward Mion. And when their eyes turned back toward me again, everyone was grinning and giving me a thumbs up. Hold on, you guys. This is all a huge misunderstanding. What's with those smiles? What's with those hand signals?
委員長と元委員長がデートだって。
The class rep and the former class rep are going on a date.
すげえ。
Awesome.
さすが委員長。やっぱ俺たちとは違うよな。
That's our class rep. Totally different from the rest of us. Everyone in the class, boys and girls alike, were running wild with cheers of joy and longing sighs. No one was listening to me. How?
ケイチ君とみーちゃんがデートだよ。
Keiichi-kun and Mii-chan are going on a date. A date?
どんなのだろう。
What kind? What kind? How? Oh, ho.
ついにケイチさんも年貢を納める時がやってまいりましたわね。
Time has finally come for Keiichi-san to reap his yearly dues.
ここは覚悟を決めてしっかりとエスコートして遊ばせ。
Make your decision now and enjoy your time together. Rina and Satoko both had bright red faces as they violently shouted to cheer me on. No, I'm begging you, please stop. Who on earth thought of this punishment? Just considering the gender relationships in the class is a safeguard for everyone else because they definitely disregard it even if they drew it. It was obviously created specifically for Mion and me. Wait, don't tell me.
リカちゃん、
Hey, Rika-chan?
み
Me?
この罰ゲームはひょっとして。
Is there any chance that this punishment was...
みぱ
Nipa! No doubt about it, this little tanuki of a girl knowingly committed this crime. Besides, it's just date, so why are they going wild like this? Is poking a beehive.
あらケイチさん、
Oh my, Keiichi-san.
女の子と遊びに行くのはご経験が終わりで。
Do you not have any experience with girls?
経験も何も。お前らと毎日しょっちゅう遊んで大騒ぎしてるだろうが。
Experience or not, I hang out with you guys and make a big fuss every day, don't I?
まあそうでございますが、二人きりでのデートは？
Well, that's true, but what about a one-on-one date? When I went treasure hunting at the trash heap with Rina, yeah, that was just the two of us. When I went to the toy store with Shion and our arms crossed. When I went shopping with Satoko and we ate dinner together. And with Rika-chan, if you really think about it, well, yeah.
ケイちゃんって結構遊び人なんですね。
Kei-chan, you're quite the playboy.
みひどいやつなのです。
Me, what a terrible person.
考えてみれば私たちとんでもない人と遊んでいたのではございませんか？
Come to think of it, we've been playing with one heck of a guy, haven't we?
不潔だよケイチ君。
How? You're filthy, Keiichi-kun. No, I'm innocent. Wait, hold on. They're all scornfully glaring at me.
でも考えてみればお姉と二人っきりってのはなかったようですね。
But if you think about it, Sis is the one person he hasn't spent any time alone with. Ugh. This music in the background kills me. For some reason, it's just so funny. Now that they mention it, even though we've hung out together so many times, surprisingly enough, I can't think of a single one-on-one situation like that. So that means...
おめでとうみーちゃん、初デートだよ。
Congratulations, Mi-chan, your first date!
おね
Oh, I fucked up. I didn't get... Oh, just... Oh. Oh, Mion. Sis?
おーい、生きてますか？おねってば。
Hey, sis, you still alive? Mion's discombobulating. She's blue screening. Shion called out to her several times, but Mion showed no reaction.
まったく。初デート、嬉しくないんですか？
Unbelievable. Are you not happy to be going on your first date? And then a wisp of wind blew in through the slightly open window. That moment, Mion burst into a profuse nosebleed that made me want to say it was too over the top, and tumbled to the ground like a mannequin. She made a loud thud as she hit the ground beneath her.
これで2度目ですか？
This again?
最近よくヒューズが切れますね。
She's been blowing fuses like this recently.
一体誰のせいだよ。
And whose fault is that? After saying that, I turned to the club members, but they all turned their eyes away at once like they were pretending to have no idea what was going on. Shit. In the end, we couldn't leave her laying on the classroom floor like that, so we brought her to the nurse's office. With Chie-sensei's permission, we set up a bed to lay her down on. Z's. At least for now, things seem to have calmed down with Mion peacefully asleep. It was kind of amusing to see her with a nosebleed stain, but since she's a girl, I'll pretend I never saw it.
それにしてもリカ、とんでもない仕込みをしていたものですわね。
Anyway, Rika, that was one crazy punishment you set up.
みー、聞いたら面白いと思っていたのですが、
Me, I thought it'd be fun if that one got picked.
本当に犯人が引くとまでは思っていなかったのですよ。
But I didn't think it was going to happen until it actually did.
そうだよね。
That's right.
全部合わせたら100以上はあったはずなのに、その中の一つを引き当てるなんてすっごい幸運だよね。
There should have been over 100 of those in there, so you're super lucky that one got picked. Would it be excessive to say it was actually unlucky?
とりあえず、ケイちゃん、
Anyway, Ki-chan,
私たちはこれで帰りますから、あとよろしくお願いしますね。
we're gonna head home now, so thanks in advance.
え、お前ら帰るのかよ。
Huh? Y'all leaving?
せめてミオンが起きるまでは。
At least stay until Mion wakes up.
お邪魔虫は大賛でございますわ。
Better for us to step aside rather than be a fly in the ointment. Oh, ho 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 ho. After saying that, Shion and the others made their way out of the nurse's office. And in the end, right as Rika-chan was about to close the door, our eyes met and she lightly tilted her head.
みどうしましたケイチ？
Me? What's wrong, Keiichi?
あのさ、リカちゃん。
Hey, Rika-chan. I felt a little something tugging at my heart, so I decided to ask Rika-chan about it.
運命は決まってるって前に言ってたよな。
You said before that fate is already decided.
リカちゃんがあのカードを仕掛けたってことは、ひょっとして俺が引くことも決まっていたのか？
Did you put that card in there knowing that I would end up drawing it?
さあ、どうかしらね。
Well, I wonder. Rika-chan suddenly changed her tone and quietly chuckled. Couldn't hide my confusion, but then she faintly spoke up with her eyes facing down.
確かに私はあのカードをケイチに引かせたいと思った。
I certainly did want you to draw that card, Keiichi.
でも100枚以上の中から引き当てたのは他でもね、あなたの力。
But the fact of the matter is, it was your own power that allowed you to draw it from among over 100 others.
それは偶然でも必然でもない。
It's neither an accident nor certain.
あなた自身が呼び寄せた強い縁なんでしょうね。
Perhaps you summoned it yourself with your own strong bond.
絵にし。
Bond?
運命はあらかじめ用意されたものだとずっと思ってきたわ。
I've always believed that fate was predetermined.
でもあなたを見ていてそれは違うと今なら言える。
But now, after seeing you, I can say that's not the case.
きっと運命は人の意志の結晶のようなもの。
I'm certain that fate is like a crystallization of human will.
だから強い思いは時として周りの人さえも巻き込んで流れを大きく変えてしまうのかもしれない。
So, someone's strong thoughts and feelings, sometimes involving even the people around them, may have a major impact on the course of that flow.
リカちゃん
Rika-chan.
ありがとう、ケイチ。
Thank you, Keiichi. Then, Rika-chan raised her head and looked up at me. Her face looked bright, cute, and very happy, but I'm sure that's no hallucination.
大切なことを気づかせてくれて
For helping me realize something important.
もうちょっとだけ早くあなたと会いたかったわ。
I only wish I had met you a little sooner. Once the door closed, the room suddenly fell quiet, and I couldn't help hearing the sound of Mion breathing in her sleep. Her chest was faintly moving up and down, suddenly started feeling awkward and stood up, then walked over to the window. The dazzling summer sun was pouring down, and the green hue of the trees was shining. I could see the other students out in the schoolyard, heading home after finishing club activities. Their lively cheers and shouts transmitted their warm enthusiasm to me.
運命か
Fate, huh? I suddenly remembered what Rika-chan told me about the worst possible future and the true identity of our enemy. To be completely honest, I still can't be sure it's going to happen until I see it with my own two eyes. And why is Rika-chan repeating this same time period over and over, with all kinds of memories? And even though I do remember bits and pieces of my past memories, I still don't understand why. According to Rika-chan, I still haven't recovered my memories of the previous world where we learned the identity of our enemy. So even though she told me the enemy is that nurse, Takano-san, nothing has come back to me. But, given how serious and sincere Rika-chan was when she told me that, I think I can trust her word. And thanks to her, we were able to prevent the misfortune that might have befallen Satoko and Rina. That alone was enough to make me thankful that Rika-chan shared her secret with us. But it's not over yet. It's just like Rika-chan said last night, the real battle hasn't even begun.
でも本当に俺たちは勝てるんだろうか
But can we really win? If it's as Rika-chan says, the enemy targeting her is both cunning and extremely powerful. Definitely not an enemy we can overcome with a simple brute force approach. We'll have to fight carefully and in the proper way to forestall this foe. And when the time comes, we'll definitely need to depend on the strength of our ever-reliable club members. Well, Rika-chan told me it's best to wait quietly for now, so this isn't the time to take action. So, pulled myself together and stopped dwelling on it. It's fun to think about the intent behind people's words and actions. But if you go too far, it can make you anxious or distrusting and overly sensitive to even a simple reaction. For example, if I were to see something lurking behind every casual act of goodwill, I start to see everyone around me as malicious. I'd be astonished to not have any good friends at my side. Of course, as I am right now, I never do that. But I do have some memory of another version of myself doing just that and getting lost in a dead end, and ultimately destroying myself. I've seen it in my dreams. When I look at the me from back then, I say to myself, don't repeat your past mistakes.
ケイチ、
Keiichi,
あなたを許します。
I forgive you. Rika-chan's words back then did so much to put my heart at ease. So, when she came to me asking for salvation, I made her a promise. I'll believe her, because it's not just anybody who told me this. It's Rika-chan. I heard a sigh coming from the bed and turned toward Mion. She had just woken up and was still in a daze, absent-mindedly looking up at the ceiling.
あれここ
Huh? Where?
おお起きたか
Oh, you're awake.
ブレーカー落ち娘
Your circuit breaker tripped for a bit there.
ケイちゃん
Huh? Kei-chan?
あれ私
Am I...
いきなり気絶するとはな
You fainted all of a sudden.
漫画じゃあるまいしびっくりさせるなよ
Don't surprise us like that. This isn't a manga. Huh?
その
Uh,
ごめん。
well, sorry. She sounded embarrassed as she said that, and she lifted the covers up past her nose in an attempt to hide the bright red look on her face. After the sudden cutesy gesture, our desperate one-on-one battle just a little while ago felt like a lie.
何よ。
What is it?
なんで笑うのさ。
What are you smiling about?
いや本当面白いやつだよなミオンってさ
Nothing. You really are entertaining, Mion.
毎日付き合っていて飽きないぜ
It's never a bore hanging out with you every day.
なんかバカにされてる気がする。
Somehow it feels like you're making fun of me.
ケイちゃん嫌い。もう帰れ。
You suck, Ki-chan. Go home already.
帰っていいのか俺
Hmm? I can go home?
じゃあ帰るぞ
Then I'll do just that. Mion sulkily turned away as she said that. I shrugged my shoulders in exasperation and walked over to the bed. Sensing my presence, Mion squirmed over to the corner of the bed, and I struggled to hold back my laughter as she curled up and turned her back toward me. Then I spoke.
あの罰ゲームだけど
So, about that punishment. Mion reacted by jolting conspicuously from head to toe. This is fun. Too fun.
別にそんなの私じゃなくても
It doesn't have to be with me, right?
シオンとかレナでも構わないでしょ
How about Shion? Or maybe Rina?
あの子たちの方が楽しいし面白いんだしさ
Those two are far more fun and interesting.
まあそうだけど
Well, maybe.
そうだよ
Right.
私じゃなくてもさ
So it doesn't have to be me. Ah, she's looking depressed. Is she really being honest here? Anyway, with Mion in stubborn mode like this, I'm sure she wouldn't agree even if I forced her to hang out. In which case, maybe.
なあミオン
Hey, Mion?
何
What?
それはともかくとして今週の日曜日さ図書館でも行かないか
About that. Would you like to go to the library this Sunday?
図書館
Huh? The library? Mion suddenly looked up at me with a vacant expression.
お前これから受験勉強に専念するんだろ
You need to concentrate on studying for your entrance exams, right?
だったらいい参考書とかあるから一緒に勉強しないか
I've got some nice reference books, so why don't we study together?
俺も今度の定期試験の準備しておきたいからさ
I'd like to prepare myself for upcoming exams too.
別にそんなの一人でも
You don't have to. I can do it on my own.
受験を甘く見るなよ
Don't take entrance exams lightly, alright?
ポイント絞ってやらなきゃ下手すりゃ全教科書けませんでした無条件降伏
You need to get all the basics down or else you won't be able to write about every subject. And then you'll be surrendering unconditionally.
なんてことがあるんだからな
It's really an ordeal.
俺の知ってる園崎ミオンは上昇不敗向かうところ敵なしのすげえやつなんだ
The Mion Sonozaki I know is invincible, undefeated, far too great to be rivaled.
それなのに勉強しか脳のないガリ勉野郎どもにたかが受験程度で負けて帰ってくるなんて俺は絶対に認めねえぞ
That's why I'll never accept you coming home defeated by bastards who can't do anything but grind away studying for entrance exams.
ケイちゃん
Kie-chan.
日曜11時沖宮図書館前
Sunday at 11 a.m. in front of the Okinomiya Library.
ミオンが来なくても一人で勉強やってるから
And Mion, even if you don't come, I'll be studying there alone.
でも待ってるからな
But I'll be waiting for you. Cute. Cute. Alright, Mion abruptly turned back this way, then stirred slightly. Somehow, it seemed like she started to nod when she turned this way, but didn't dare to ask her anymore. Even if she doesn't confirm it here, I'm sure Mion will come. At least, I think so. Just then, I could hear the chimes coming from the principal's office in the distance. It was already time to leave school.
もう帰んなきゃだね
Time to head home. Mion got up as she said that. She was waking up, but she was still a little shaky. Still, she could be back to normal in a little while. She should be back to normal in a little while.
大丈夫か
Are you alright?
お前のカバンも持ってくるからそのまま待ってろよ
I'll go get your bags. Wait here. Oh,
ケイちゃん
Ki-chan. Mion called out to me just as I reached the door to the nurse's office. I looked back with a, what is it, expression, and our eyes met. She whispered something with a complex, somewhat shy look on her face, and then she muttered something.
ありがと
Thank you.
え
Huh?
悪いよく聞こえなかった
Sorry, I didn't quite hear that.
うなんでもない
Oh, it's nothing.
じゃあ待ってるね
Then I'll be waiting. Mion waved her arms as she said that and smiled. For the time being, I just tilted my head instead of saying anything, then opened the door and went out into the hallway.
ああそうそう
Oh, right.
ミオ
Mion.
え何
Huh? What?
どういたしまして
You're welcome.
な
Whoa, 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 whoa! Boom. Mion turned bright red and steam came rising out. I smiled at that and then headed to the classroom. I could hear Mion angrily shouting, "You moron!" from behind me, and I let out the huge laugh I'd been holding in. The sunset coming in through the windows dyed the wooden hallway in red. I hope it's sunny this Sunday. Those thoughts in mind, I rushed toward the classroom. Yay! How adorable. Date, punishment, go to the library, date, punishment. Do we get to see it? We better. I arrived at the Okinomiya Library 30 minutes before our scheduled meeting time. Fortunately, there's nice weather today, just as I'd hoped for. Well, it doesn't really matter whether it's rainy or sunny if we're going to be indoors, but it does affect the mood. The early morning summer sun and the clear sky felt lovely. The air felt nice and clean as I breathed it in while parking my bike at the bike rack and making my way to the main entrance. I got here earlier than expected, and of course Mion wasn't here yet. Thinking that, I headed to the entrance intending to buy myself a can of juice. But just then... Also, I forgot to check. I was gonna check. What number stream is this? This is 99. Oh, man. That means Tuesday, assuming we stream on Tuesday of Higurashi. That'll be stream 100 of Higurashi. Insane. Anyway. It definitely overtook Umineko several streams ago. I think Umineko got to 91, maybe? If we can't count everything. Individual stream numbers. And no end in sight. Mion says, "Ah!
ケイちゃん
Ki-chan."
What?
Huh? I completely overlooked her because she didn't stand out much, but Mion was standing at the corner by the main entrance.
おはよう
Good morning.
おう
Hey,
ずいぶん早かったな
you're here awfully early.
あ
Uh,
時間間違えちゃってさ
I got the time wrong. Mion awkwardly laughed and looked embarrassed as she said that. Did you really make a mistake with a watch right there on your wrist? I was tempted to quip that. Mion was dressed in her usual clothes with her usual hairstyle. I asked Rina to indirectly suggest she come dressed in everyday clothes, so Rina must have kept her promise. Well, I did kind of want to see Mion dressed up in a fashionable outfit, but I felt she'd get more awkward if she got too fired up, so I saved the fun for next time. Oh boy. Nonetheless, her lips had a slightly more rouge tint to them than their usual pink, which looked cuter than normal. I'm sure that's a recent line of lipstick. Thanks to that, I recalled the nightmare I witnessed at our previous club activity. No, let's forget about that.
今日のミオンなんか女の子っぽいな
You seem pretty girly today, huh, Mion?
そんなことないよ
That's a thing to say to them. No way.
いつもと同じだって
I'm just the same as always.
あはは
I was actually expecting a retort of, "I'm always a girl." Something about Mion today made her seem in especially high spirits.
ちゃんと持ってきたか
He better not do something to make my fucking girl Mion upset here. Chechi, you're on thin ice with me, buddy. Don't ruin this. Let her have a fun day. Did you bring everything I asked you to?
参考書と問題集
Your reference books and workbooks.
もちろん
Of course.
忘れるわけないよ。
I'd never forget. Deep in my heart, I felt relieved. It seems we've avoided the worst case scenario. I recall her asking yesterday, Ki-chan, what do you want to eat tomorrow? She was in such a panic that I had to remind her what the main purpose of today was. Still can't deny the possibility that she grabbed the strategy guide for some game by mistake and brought that with. Brought that with, I guess, is just where that ends. Alright, let's go. Yeah. Mion's face was burning red as she gave me a big nod, then awkwardly walked beside me. Hey Mion, your arms and legs are moving at the same time. Walk, 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 walk. As soon as we stepped through the automatic doors, we were immediately bathed in the cool, carefully regulated air conditioning. It felt chilly and refreshing, but it did seem a little too cold considering we had yet reached the heat of the day. When Mion and I entered the study area, I checked the seats farthest from the air conditioner. It's easy to start feeling sick when you're too cold, and that'll prevent you from staying focused. I learned that from my cram school teacher a long time ago. Ah, there are open seats over there. I looked at the space in the corner of the room and found a spot that looked perfect. There was a table for four facing toward the window that wasn't in direct sunlight. This is a self-study room, but there aren't a lot of people here using it like there were back in the city. So, Mion and I decided to sit across from each other at the table so we could sit face to face. Face to face. The Daft Punk song. That was a reference I was making. Slam! Ow. Are you alright?
大丈夫。
Yeah, I'm fine.
全然。
Totally fine.
あ
Mion must have banged her knee into the table as she tried to sit down. She's still moving pretty awkwardly. Anyway, it was a surprisingly narrow table considering it had 4 chairs. The two of us each laid out a reference book, a notebook, and a dictionary. It would take up the entire table. This is a really small table, huh?
そうだね。
Yeah.
辞書一つしまって2人で使うか
Should we just use one dictionary and share it between us?
うん。
Sure. Whoa! When our eyes met, Mion suddenly got startled and jumped. Sitting face to face at a table that's small, it's only natural for us to look closely at one another's faces. Mion's peculiar behavior told me she still wasn't mentally prepared for this.
そうだね。
Right.
かなり狭いから辞書一つの方がいいかもね。
It's really small, so it might be best to share a dictionary. Our words weren't coming together at all. Was this atmosphere gradually getting more and more awkward? Roll. When Mion went to close the dictionary, she inadvertently knocked the eraser next to it off the table. She scrambled to pick it up off the floor, but... Bam!
あら。
Her shoulder bumped against the leg of the table as she got up, causing her mechanical pencil to fall from the other side. Then she bent down again to pick up her pencil, but... Bam! Ow! Her head bumped past the corner of the table when she moved her body back, and the shake caused the reference book to fall to the other side.
なあミオン
Hey, Mion? Huh?
何
What is it?
ケイちゃん。
Ki-chan. I picked up the reference book and handed it to Mion, who was clutching the back of her head with tears in her eyes, and then I spoke up.
とりあえず落ち着け
Anyway, let's try to calm down.
深呼吸しろ
Take a deep breath.
ごめん。
Gomenasai. I'm sorry. Just as Mion began trying to apologize, I firmly grabbed her hand and pulled her close. Oh, smooth. Then I laughed with a big smile on my face to try and reassure her.
ケイちゃん。
Ki-chan.
悪いことしていないんだから謝んなくてもいいって
Definitely a different energy to today's Higurashi stream as far as content of the story here. We're in full date romance mode reading. No horror in sight today. Sorry, I was cleaning something off my keyboard there. You haven't done anything wrong, so there's no need to apologize.
俺たち仲間だろ
We're friends, right?
うん。
Yeah.
緊張して頭の中混乱状態なのはわかるけど落ち着けって
I realize you're nervous and a lot of things are flying through your head, but you need to calm down.
俺は前原圭一で、お前は園崎美音。
I'm Keshi Maibara, and you're Mion Sonozaki.
周りに誰がいてもいなくても、それだけは同じだろ。
That's the same whether there's anybody else around us or not, right?
レナを助けてくれと、電話で頼んだあの時のこと。
It's like
もう
that.
一度思い出してくれ。
It's like that time I called you and asked you to help Rina. When Rina was feeling depressed about her father's situation, the first thing I thought of was Mion, because I was certain that she'd be able to do something to help. If it was just Rika-chan and I trying to comfort her when she was crying, we probably wouldn't have gotten through to her. No matter how modest she was about the whole thing, it was thanks to Mion that Rina was able to bounce back immediately after that.
そうだね。
You're right. At last, Mion seemed to be loosening up. She wiped her forehead with her handkerchief and took a deep breath. And then, after whispering something to herself, she raised her head and smiled.
なんかどっと疲れちゃったな。
I'm so tired.
よくよく考えてみたら、ケイちゃんと二人で外出することなんてなかったでしょ。
But thinking about it, we really haven't done anything together as just the two of us, have we?
あんなに毎日みんなで盛り上がってるのにね。
Even though we have so much fun together with the group every day, right?
だから変にエキサイトしちゃったよ。
So, I was feeling strangely excited.
だからって、エキサイトしすぎだろ、それ。
Still, that was getting a little too excited.
まあ、そういやそうだよな。
But well, you are right about that. I've gone out to the garbage mountain with Reina before, but just the two of us. But of course, I wasn't about to mention that.
なんかいろいろと考えすぎちゃってさ。
I've been thinking way too hard.
私ほら、話をする男子って年下か親父ばっかりだったでしょ。
All the guys I ever talked to are either younger boys or middle-aged men, right?
だからケイちゃんと差しの時はどう話したらいいのかなってね。
So I wasn't sure what the best way to talk to you face to face was.
差しってなんだそりゃ。
I don't know what that's supposed to mean.
それに念のために言っておくが、俺も一応年下だ。
For your information, I'm younger than you too.
あ、いや、まあ、
No,
そうなんだけど、
no, well, yeah, I suppose that's true.
なんていうか、意識しちゃったらどうもレナたちとは調子が違ってきてさ。
It's just, once I became conscious of it, I started to have a different attitude compared to Reina and the others.
意識？
Conscious?
うん。
What's up with this? Mion's eyebrows are pointed like the hands of a clock at 1:50.
そうだよね。
That's right.
ケイちゃんなんだから今まで通りで問題ないか。
This is you we're talking about, so treating you the same as always shouldn't be a problem. Mion looked weary, then nodded as she convinced herself of something. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but for now, Mion's tone seemed to be back to normal, so guess it's okay.
よし。
Alright,
じゃあ、勉強始めるか。
let's start studying.
オッケー。
Okay. And so after all that, Mion and I began studying. 30 minutes later...
あ、ケイちゃん、
Oh, Ki-chan.
この役で合ってるかな。
Is this the right translation here?
どこだ？
Where at?
どれどれ？
Let me see. That said, Mion is a grade above me, so I wonder if I'll be able to understand the question. Thinking that, I looked at the problem Mion was pointing to. Huh? Wait, seriously? She really thinks the answer to this question is this? You dumbhead!
ちょっと難しい。
You piece of shit. You dumb piece of shit. I'm joking. What's wrong, Ki-chan? Is it a little too tough for you?
お前は。
You... I was dumbstruck when I saw the problem Mion was having trouble with. It's pretty much... No, it really is the most basic of basics on the entrance exam. They literally call these first step questions. Just how basic was it? Well, for the honor of the Sonozaki family's heiress, let's just say that anyone who studied for entrance exam would probably be enraged to see this.
念のために聞く。
Just to make sure, let me ask.
英語の文法の SVOC。これはなんだ？
Do you know what SVOC refers to in the context of English grammar?
ブランデ？
Brandy?
そりゃ VSOP だ。
That's VSOP! Incidentally, the answer is subject, verb, object, complement, and VSOP is a way of measuring the age of brandy. So, of course, there's no relationship between the two of them. None at all. They cover this stuff in mandatory education, don't they?
Mion.
Mion,
ちょっとノート見るぞ。
I'm gonna take a quick look at your notebook.
え、
Huh? I decided to grab Mion's notes to see how she answered the other parts. And just as expected, no, even more than expected, it was full of wrong answers. Wrong, 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 and this is wrong too. That part's not even spelled in proper English. Is that Romaji? It was horrifying to think that Mion made it this far.
Mion.
Man, you know the situations where you're with someone and they're just so dumb that it's an immediate turn off. You realize just how not like, I mean, intelligence obviously comes in many shapes and sizes, right? And forms. I'm not trying to be mean here, but like there is something funny to be like just be so dumb. So if you're either so like, for me personally, I mean whatever. For me personally, if someone was either in the book smart or street smart category, if one of those are very low for a certain someone, it's rough. It's rough because you're just like, how? Like, I'm not asking or looking for like a million IQ or anything, but like when someone's like so, it's just like, this isn't gonna work. This isn't gonna work. Mion.
何？
What?
こりゃ相当だぜ。
This is extremely...
相当有望？
Huh? Extremely promising?
むしろ無謀だ。
No, it's extremely reckless.
お前、一体今まで何勉強してたんだ？
What have you been studying all this time?
いやー、おじさん実学重視がモットーだったからさ。
Well, this old man's motto is that practical experience is more important. I've heard that before. Anyway, this is terrible. Really terrible.
お前、よくこれで今まで進学できたよな。
I'm shocked you've made it as far in school as you have.
そんなこと言ってやる気下げないでおけじゃん。
Don't say things like that to demotivate me, Ki-chan.
受験生に向かって。
That's not what you tell a student getting ready for exams. No. As someone who's gone through study hell in the city, I'm sure that comment was possibly tame.
大体ね、
Besides,
うちの学校は世界の国の人が言えたら合格できるレベルなんだよ。
our school is at a level where you can pass if you just know the capitals of other countries of the world, you know?
ケイちゃんのレベルと一緒にしないでよ。
Don't compare me to your level, Ki-chan.
どこぞの不良コミックかよ。
That sounds like something from a lame comic.
ちなみに、ブラジルの首都は
And by the way, can you even name the capital of Brazil?
ジュネーブ。
Geneva? Totally wrong. Seriously worried about her future.
とりあえず受験レベルまで引き上げるんだよな。
Anyway, you want to raise yourself up to entrance exam level for now, right? Sure.
気合い入れて頑張るよ。
I'm all psyched up. I'll do my best.
かなり、いや、ものすっごく頑張らないとな。
You really, and I mean seriously, need to try hard here.
任せといて。
Leave it to me.
こう見えても私本番に強いし大丈夫さね。
Despite how it may look, I can perform well in a pinch. It'll be alright. Alright. Alright, she says.
大丈夫なわけあるか、このクソたわけ。
You're crazy if you think this is alright.
この学力で合格できるなら、世の中の志願者数は合格者数を超えたりせんわ。
If you could pass with this level of education, more people would pass than applicants in the world.
大体なんだ気合って。
And you say you're all psyched up?
気合だけで何でも解決できると思ったら大間違いだぞ。
You're making a huge mistake if you think you can solve everything with fighting spirit alone.
いくら運命が人の意志と結晶とリカちゃんが言っても、今の学力で受験を乗り切れるのなら、人はうなぎで空を飛べるわ。
Excuse me. No matter how much Rika-chan says that fate is the crystallization of human will, if you can survive the entrance exams at your current ability, then people can fly through the sky riding on eels. My conscience and reasoning barely managed to suppress these words that desperately wanted to come bursting from my throat. Got her. If I say it, she'll cry. Even if it's Mion I'm talking about, she'll cry. I'm certain of it. Of course, that was a terrible thing to say to Mion right after she just told me how motivated she was. But, even if it's a terrible thing to say, isn't it even more cruel to hide the truth from her? Up until now, I didn't know much about Mion's scholastic abilities. She was the one who suddenly told me she needed to study, so admittedly I wasn't expecting much, but this was beyond my imagination. I kind of regret offering to tutor her so casually.
それにしても
Anyway. Huh? On the other hand, that raises another mystery. Based on her current academic abilities, I can assume that Mion has never studied before. But the truth is, academic ability may not be very important in her role as successor to the Sonozaki family. In which case, why did Mion suddenly start studying for entrance exams?
あのさ、ミオン。
Hey, Mion?
大丈夫頑張るから。
It's alright, I'll try my best.
今はこんな感じだけどすぐに追いつくって。
I know how it looks, but I'll be able to catch up quickly.
本当に。
I mean it.
いや、そうじゃなくて。
No, I'm not asking about that.
なんで急に受験勉強始めようなんて思ったんだ？
What made you suddenly start studying for entrance exams?
え？
Huh?
いや、それは。
Oh, well, Mion's face turned red. Come on, not again. I'd hardly consider a question about why she began studying for the exams to be a reason to start blushing, but...
なんだよ。
What is it?
そんなに変な質問か？
Did I ask you something weird?
いや。
No.
ミオン。
Mion.
ね。
Well... It was a simple question about her motivation for studying, and yet Mion had a hard time saying it. It was clearly unusual, so she gave me a vague, no particular reason answer. I wouldn't be convinced.
まあ、別に言いたくないなら言わなくてもいいけどさ。
Anyway, if you don't want to tell me, you don't have to say anything.
仲間としてもどんな理由なのか聞いておきたいしな。
But as a friend, I just wanted to ask what your reason was.
じゃあ。
Okay.
言おうかな。
Okay, I'll say it.
お、言ってみ。
Sure, go ahead.
一緒の学校に行きたいなと思って。
Aw.
ね。
I was thinking it would be nice to go to school together, okay?
一緒の学校誰と？
Together? With who? Kichi, come on. You fucking idiot. Now you're the one wearing the dunce hat.
だから。
Obviously,
ケイちゃんと。
with you, Ki-chan. Huh? Oh, he whited out. The answer was so far outside my expectations that it left me speechless. Seriously, what was up with the explosion of moe cuteness in her answer? I can never imagine the usual Mion saying, no, taking that any further might be going too far. Still, she did that deliberately, then she really got the better of me. But in the rare chance that she meant that sincerely?
一緒って言ってもお前俺より1学年上だろ？
Even if you say you want us to go to school together, you're a year older than me, aren't you?
だからその。
Right, so...
1年くらいかければ追いつけるかなって。
Even if it takes me a year, I'll catch up. Based on how she was now, though, it was hard to imagine her catching up in just a year. But no, it doesn't matter. It's risky, totally suicidal. I could tell that even my face was turning red. Of course, I'm gonna be embarrassed too if she's this frank with me. Calm down. At least for now, you have to calm down.
まあ、その、なんだ？
Well, about that.
俺もミオンが一緒だったら、その、楽しいかな。
Mion, I do think it might be fun going to school with you, you know?
かな
It might be?
いや楽しいと思うぞきっと。
No, I'm certain it'll be fun, yeah.
このまま行けばケイちゃん大学はきっと東京でしょ
Kei-chan, at the pace you're going to end up in a college in Tokyo, right?
そうなったら今の私の学力じゃ絶対無理だしだから
But if that's the case, then my current education level would make it absolutely impossible for me to do the same, so...
そうか。
I see.
それじゃあミオン、お前。
Then Mion, you...
そう私も東京にって
That's right. I also want to go to Tokyo. Once again, she said something completely unexpected. I never imagined Mion leaving the village.
けどその崎は。
But what about the Sonozaki family?
大学くらいは許してもらうつもりだよ
I'll convince them to give me permission to go to college.
そりゃ園崎家じゃきっと一波乱あるだろうけどさ
But I'm sure it's going to cause some commotion within the Sonozaki family. Well, yeah, probably so. Even if it's only temporary, it's a major issue for the future head of the Sonozaki family to leave Hinamizawa.
でもミオンってそんなに東京志向あったっけ？
But, Mion, were you always intent on going to Tokyo?
いやちょっと前まで全然
Not at all. At least not until recently.
でもケイちゃんと一緒の学校にって思うようになったらさ初めて園崎から離れた自分を考えるようになったんだ
But when I started thinking about going to school with you, it was my first time thinking about myself independently of the Sonozaki family. Mion smiled as she said that.
確かに私はこのひなみ沢の代表園崎家の次期当主だよ
It's true that I'm the next head of the Sonozaki family and a representative of Hinamizawa.
だからこの村で生まれて育って結婚して子供作って死ぬまでここを離れられない
So, I'd be born and raised here, get married, raise children, and die here, never leaving.
子供の頃からそう教えられてきたしこの村の私が私のすべて毎日楽しいことを探してみんなで騒いで幸せに過ごす
That's what I've been taught since I was a child. This village is everything to me. Seeking out fun things to do every day, making a lot of noise, and living happily.
それ以外はあまり考えたことなかった
I never really thought about anything more than that.
でもさちょっと考えてみた
But, well, thought it over a bit.
私たちの村もどんどん変わってきている
Our village is steadily changing.
古くからここで住んでいる人たちの他にケイちゃんたちのような新しい家族を受け入れたりして古き良きなんとかなんて言ってられなくなった
Apart from the people who have lived here since ancient times, there are also new families like yours, Ki-chan. You can't really say things are better the way they used to be anymore.
だから視野を広めておきたいんだ
So, I want to broaden my horizons.
ケイちゃんと一緒がいいのはもちろん本心だけどこれは私の将来にとってもとても大事なことだと思うんだ
Of course, I meant it when I said I want to go with you, Ki-chan, but I think this is a very important lesson for my future too. Then she lightly tilted her head to ask me something.
ねえケイちゃん
Hey, Ki-chan. Hmm?
大学行ってその後は
After you finish college,
やっぱ東京かな
do you think you'll stay in Tokyo?
さあまだそこまでは。
Well, I still haven't given it much thought,
でもそれもいいかなと思ってる。
but I've been thinking that might not be so bad. I was actually quite surprised how naturally I answered that. After coming to Hinamizawa, I wanted to completely forget about the city life in Tokyo. I wanted to deny their very existence. Nevertheless, the reason I began thinking about all that was because of the engagement party fiasco. I had plenty of great conversations with a lot of adults, especially Mion's relatives. People of the Sonozaki family engaged in such a wide variety of activities. There were congressmen and lawyers, and even the president of a restaurant and a manufacturer of name-brand goods. And even though they're active in both inside and outside the village, the one thing they all have in common is that they consider Hinamizawa dear to them. Everyone is giving it their all to make the village a better place. To that end, they're cultivating their personal connections, knowledge and experience than using those weapons to fight all out. The damn opposition movement probably would have been outright dismissed as some small local demonstration activity if these people hadn't taken such effective measures to work within the law. To put it another way, it was no exaggeration to say that they were the ones who worked the hardest to protect this village. You need a weapon in order to fight. You need power in order to protect others. Obviously, increasing responsibility comes with increasing obligation, so it's necessary to face these challenges head-on to overcome those barriers. What would I do in that position? When I became conscious of that, I felt that my day-to-day studying efforts were far more than just some puzzle game. Back in the old days, I used to study without any sort of meaning behind it. I was happy just being praised by my parents for getting good grades, but I quickly grew bored of that. But if I could link the things I did and studied to making other people happy, rather than petty self-satisfaction, that would be such a wonderful and joyous thing. And when I thought about it like that, I felt rather attached to the idea.
Kei-chan.
Ki-chan. Mion had a gentle look in her face as she continued listening to my story. Unlike usual, she made no attempt to interrupt and tease me. Oh,
でも俺は
but I cut myself off there, then continued like I remembered something.
最後はひなみ沢には戻ってくるつもりだ。
I plan to come back to Inamizawa afterwards,
ここは俺が俺らしさを取り戻してくれた場所だからさ。
because this is the place where I got my life back.
恩返ししないと罰が当たる。
And if I don't pay that back, I'll be punished.
違いないね。
No doubt about that. Mion seemed pleased and responded with a big smile. Then,
やっぱりケイちゃんだよ。
yep, that's you alright, Ki-chan.
え
Huh?
ケイちゃんで私本当に良かったなーって。
I'm really glad to have you as you are, Ki-chan.
ありがとね。
Thanks. The atmosphere filled with warmth I've never felt between me and Mion before. The two of us going to college in Tokyo together, and then coming back to Inamizawa together, is a vastly expanding dream. It seemed like we were plotting a course toward an endlessly bright future, and I felt content.
あれ、ケイちゃん
Huh? Ki-chan?
とお姉？
And sis?
Huh?
Huh? Just then, an unexpected voice calling out to us from behind dispersed the warm atmosphere like mist. Oh, they're ruining the date.
あれシオン
Huh? Shion. When I looked back, I found Shion standing there. And right beside her was...
あらあら、こんにちは。
Oh, double ruined the date. Oh dear. Good morning.
ケイチ君にミオンちゃん。
Keiichi-kun. Mion-chan.
どうも
Hey. I tried my best to calm myself and respond to their greetings. The people addressing us were Shion and Miotsukushi-san. This woman is our enemy? I was trembling from a chill as if all the blood in my body had frozen over, and I tried to brace myself. Even though the air conditioning was running full blast, cold sweat came overflowing down my back. It's no good. Don't do anything suspicious now. Don't know anything at this point. Just that this woman is a nurse at the Irie clinic. I struggled to hold back my hoarse breathing and suppress my throbbing heartbeat while forcing a smile. Not sure if it worked, but Takano-san smiled at Mion and I, and then spoke up.
今日はデートかしら？
Are you on a date?
あいやその
Oh, no, Hearing the word date, Mion got restless. And Takano seemed to think the reason for my jerky movements was just that I was nervous. Good. When Shion saw me like that, she grinned and looked like she was getting ready to make fun of me.
何ですか、ケイちゃん。
What's the deal, Ki-chan?
図書館でデートなんて色気がないですね。
A date at the library isn't very sexy.
いいじゃねえか
It's fine, okay?
図書館は涼しくて静かで快適気分で楽しいぞ
The library is cool and quiet. It's fun and relaxing, right?
おまけにタダですし。
And it's free.
意外にせこいですね、ケイちゃんも。
That's unusually stingy of you, Ki-chan.
こういう時は使ったお金の額で愛情が伺い知れるってものですよ。
Aren't you supposed to express the amount of your love through the amount of money you spend? Did you hear that from some office lady? Plus, there's only so much money you can spend as an unemployed student. Okay, I'm mostly back to normal now.
それじゃあ私はこれで。
Anyway, I need to get going.
はい。
Oh, sure.
ありがとうございました。
Thank you very much.
お二人も楽しくね。
Have fun, you two. Takano-san handed Shion some files, then flashed me and Mion a suggestive smile before turning and heading out. Was she trying to make fun of me? What was the deal with that smile? Anyway, it's an unexpected combination. Shion and Takano-san. How on earth were the two of them connected? And what were those files Takano-san gave Shion? I had a bad feeling, but was it just because I was feeling overly cautious about her?
なあシオン
Hey, Shion,
それ
what are those? I pointed to the files in Shion's hands.
ああ、これですか？
Oh, these?
高野さんがひなみ沢についての話をまとめたものです。
Takano-san compiled a list of stories about Hinamizawa.
例えば鬼隠しとかこの村の伝説とかいろいろね。
The local legends, like being demoned away, stuff like that.
鬼隠しって
Being
綿流しのあれか
being demoned away? Like during Watanagashi?
へえ、ケイちゃん詳しいですね。
Oh, so you're already familiar with that, Ki-chan.
綿流しの晩に毎年起こっているたたりについて高野さんが調べたそうですよ。
Takano-san has been researching the curse that happens every year on the night of Watanagashi.
ケイちゃん興味ありますか？
Are you interested, Ki-chan?
いやまあ興味っていうかそれ
Oh, well, I guess you could say I'm interested.
ちょっとケイちゃん。
Wait a minute, Ki-chan. The moment Mion heard that, she rushed to cut off Shion's conversation. I nearly fell over after suddenly being struck by her threatening attitude.
どうしたミオン
Is there something wrong, Mion?
いや
It's nothing.
そんなことより今日はここに勉強しに来たんだからね。
Anyway, we came here today to study, right?
ちゃんと責任持って教えてよ。
You have to take this seriously and teach me.
ああいや少しだけだからさ
Oh, sorry. It'll only be a second.
それでシオンそのファイルに何が書いてあるんだ
So, Shion, can you tell me what else is in those files?
いえ、今もらったばかりで。
No, I only just received them now.
よかったら一緒に見ます？
Would you care to give them a look together?
ケイちゃんってば。
Come on, Ki-chan! Mion grabbed my arm. Her eyes were slanted and she looked pretty angry. Right, we're studying today, just the two of us. No, it's a studying date, so anyone ignored in that situation would get upset. It can't be helped. I was concerned about Takano-san's notebook, but I decided to give up on discussing with Shion.
ごめん
Sorry,
悪かったなミオン
that was wrong of me to do, Mion.
うん。
Yeah,
じゃあこれ。
so anyway,
シオンも引き止めて悪かったな
and you too, Shion. Sorry to hold you up.
そういうわけだから俺たちは勉強続けるよ
We're gonna go back to studying.
ふーん。
Get you and your files out of here, Kechi says. Hmm?
相変わらずなんですね、おね。
Sis, you're just the same as always. Shion's laugh seemed like it was lightly teasing Mion, but Mion responded by glaring at her with a disgruntled expression.
何がよ。
What is that supposed to mean?
大好きなケイちゃんにはこのひなみ沢の闇の部分を聞かせたくないってことですか？
You don't want your beloved Ki-chan to hear about the dark past of Hinamizawa?
いや、ご立派というかなんというか。
My, how admirable.
シオン、あんたね。
Shion, you!
あれ？気に障りました？
Oh, did I offend you? Man, shit stirrer Shion is here to fucking ruin our library date. Can't believe it. Can't believe it. Oh, did I offend you?
次期当主ともあろうお方が同様丸出しですよ。
The future family head is looking quite shaken up. Thud. Mion kicked her chair over while abruptly rising to her feet and then glared at Shion, making no effort to hide her anger. Unswayed by Mion's momentum, Shion glared back at her.
あんた。
Oh, they're
何
fighting.
疑ってるの？
Do you still not trust me?
いい加減にしないと私どうなっても知らないよ。
Don't blame me for what happens if you don't cut it out.
どう？
Oh.
それは警告ですか？次期当主様。
Is that a warning from the glorious future family head?
ひょっとして今年の綿流しでたたりに会うのは私ってことで？
Perhaps the curse will fall on me during Watanagashi this year.
バカなこと言ってんじゃないよ。
Don't say something so stupid.
誰に吹き込まれたか知らないけど なんでそんなデタラメを。
I don't know who filled your head with that idea, but why would you say such absolute garbage?
デタラメ
Garbage?
だったら言ってくださいよ、本当のことを。
If that's the case, then please tell me the truth.
私は本当のことが知りたいだけなんです。そのために動いて何が悪い。
I just really want to know the truth. Is there something wrong with searching for it?
だから
That's...
それは。
Well... The force of that question seemed to suddenly make Mion falter. Shion's overwhelming anger had turned the situation around. Now, she was the one venting her rage at Mion, moving her face in closer.
ああ、お姉はいつもそうですよね。
Ah, sis, you're always like that.
闘志闘志という割に周りの顔色を伺って当たり障りなくのらりくらりと。
Instead of acting like a proper family head, you just curry favor with other people to keep your distance from the problems.
でも私は違うんです。
But I'm not like you.
サトシ君のことを誰も話したがらないならそれでもいい。だったら勝手に調べるだけだから。
If nobody wants to talk about Sachi-kun, that's fine. I'll just investigate on my own. I think the date is ruined.
あんたの力なんて期待して
The
ない。
mood has soured.
邪魔だけはするな。
I don't expect any help out of you, so just don't get in my way.
いい加減にしろこの大バカ野郎。
That's enough, you total moron!
ミオン
Mion! When I saw Mion raise her fist in rage, I grabbed her from behind. Then, I made her turn toward me and peered at Shion over Mion's shoulder.
引き止めちまって悪かったなシオン。
I'm sorry for keeping you here, Shion.
鬼隠しの話今度機会があったら聞かせてくれ。
But whenever we get another chance, I'd like to hear that demoning away story.
二人で勝手に勉強でも何でも楽しくやってなさいな。
You two enjoy studying or whatever on your own.
お子ちゃまカップルが。
Have fun on your little baby date. Oh, shit, man. That's such a mean thing as a parting word to say. Have fun on your stupid little baby date. At the library. Studying for an exam. Mion looking like a dumbass. Doesn't know what 5 plus 4 is, or whatever the fuck. This is rough. It's a rough ending. How does Mion recover from this? After the unpleasant remark, Shion walked away. Then after seeing her off, I urged Mion back to her seat.
ミオンも悪かったな。
And I should apologize to you too, Mion.
ごめん。
I'm sorry.
いいよ。
It's okay.
ケイちゃんが謝ることじゃない。
You're not the one who needs to apologize. The awkward silence continued. Hoping to break through it, I decided to ask what they were even arguing about in the first place.
なあミオン。
Hey, Mion?
さっきシオンの言ってたサトシのことって何のことだ？
What's the deal with Satoshi that Shion mentioned earlier?
何ケイちゃん。知りたいの？
What's that, Ki-chan? You really want to know? Mion immediately grimaced. Still, wasn't just for the sake of curiosity. I wanted to hear a proper explanation to confirm what I heard from Rika-chan.
ミオンは当然知ってるんだろ？
Mion, I'm sure you already know about it, right?
鬼隠しのこと。
This story about being demoned away?
うん。まあ。
Yeah, I guess. She was speaking unusually evasively, most likely for the reason I heard from Akane-san earlier.
別に隠す必要はないぞ。
There's no need to hide anything, okay?
言いたくないなら無理には聞かないけど。
But if you don't want to talk about it, I won't force you.
楽しい話じゃないよ。
It's not a pleasant story, you know. Mion anxiously turned her gaze downward, then slightly raised her head back up. I realized that she was trying to avoid telling these bad stories out of concern for me. That's why I smiled and tried to reassure her.
楽しくなくても物騒でも何でもいいさ。
Even if it's not fun, even if it's scary or something, that's fine.
それにこれを聞いたからってひなみ沢とミオンたちのことを嫌ったりはしない。
And no matter what I hear, I won't think less of you guys, or Hinamizawa as a result.
茜さん、ミオンのお母さんとの約束だしな。
I promised that to Akane-san. To your mom.
お母さんが？
Mom?
それじゃケイちゃん。
So, Ki-chan... After nodding to her, I went on to tell her the things I heard from Akane-san the other night about Hinamizawa and about Mion and everyone else. Of course, Mion frowned at first, learning that I already knew about the things she wanted to keep hidden from me, but when I told her that my feelings remained unchanged and I trusted her all the same after hearing these stories, She had a relieved, bitter smile on her face. And then...
わかった。それじゃあ、私の知ってることだけ。
Very well. Then I'll tell you everything I know. With that preface, Mion began to slowly open her mouth. It was a story about the repeating curse in Hinamizawa, although most of the content was the same as what I had already heard from Akane-san and Rika-chan. One person died and one went missing on the day of the festival every year for the past 4 years. The people of Hinamizawa secretly attributed it to the curse of the village's guardian deity, Oyashiro-sama. Being demoned away is sort of like being spirited away. It's when someone vanishes due to Oyashiro-sama's curse. But hearing it directly from a major village figure like Mion gave me a clear understanding of the state of awe the villagers were in. And so, the files that Takano-san gave Shion must have contained all kinds of research into the demoning away phenomenon. It was surprising enough that Takano was investigating such a thing, but I was even more surprised to learn that Shion was that fixated on the idea of people being demoned away.
なんでシオンはあんなに必死になって調べてるんだ?
Why is Shion so insistent on investigating this?
サトコにはお兄さんがいてさ、サトシって言うんだけど。
Satoko has an older brother named Satoshi.
サトシとシオン、仲良かったから。
Satoshi and Shion were extremely close.
サトシ?
Satoshi?
シオンってサトシのことを
Shion
好
was...
きだったんだよね。
Shion was in love with Satoshi.
去年聡子のおばが殺され
But
兄がいなくなりました。
But last year when Satoko's aunt was murdered, her brother disappeared. Indeed, I had heard as much from Rika-chan earlier. I see. So Shion liked Satoshi. That must be why she cares so much about his sister Satoko.
でもね、サトシがいなくなっちゃったの。
But Satoshi went missing.
去年の綿流しのお祭りの日に。
Last year, around the day of the bubmanXIV festival.
それが鬼隠し。
So he was demoned away? Mion nodded. I understand. So Shion is investigating the demoning away phenomenon because she wants to find Satoshi's whereabouts.
正直、無茶なことしてるって思ってるよ。
To be honest, I think she's doing something unreasonable.
シオンは鬼隠しは園崎家の仕業なんじゃないかって疑ってるみたいでね。
Shion apparently suspects that the Sonozaki family is responsible for people being demoned away.
園崎のことあれこれ調べ回ったりしてさ。
So she's investigating all kinds of things related to the Sonozaki family.
いっぱい協力したのにこっちの気も知らないで。
Even after everything I've done to help her, she's still blind to how I feel.
けどそれって普通じゃないか?
But isn't that perfectly normal?
え?
Huh? Mion seemed surprised and raised her head to look up at me. Still, I wasn't trying to take Shion's side here. I was just trying to express how I felt.
もしもさ、もしもミオンが鬼隠しにあっていなくなったら、
If, let's say, if you're the one who disappeared,
俺もきっとシオンと同じことをしてると思うな。
I'm sure I'd be doing the same thing Shion is doing.
ミオンだってそうじゃないのか?
Don't you think you would be doing the same in that position, Mion?
そりゃ私だってもちろん
Well, of course I would.
できることすべてやってケイちゃんのこと探し回って。
I'd be doing everything in my power to search for Yuki-chan.
そして
And, Suddenly, Mion stared at me, then drooped her head while biting at her lip. And then, she thought she was remembering something. As though she was remembering something, she muttered something at me in an inaudible whisper, and turned pale as she held her head.
シオン、あんたには罪がある。
Shion, you committed a great sin.
あんたは今までミオンだった。
You were Mion until now.
園崎家の鬼を継ぐミオンという強い立場がありながら、サトシ君を救わなかった、救おうとしなかった。
You were in a powerful position as Mion of the Sonozaki family, yet you didn't even try to rescue Satoshi-kun.
サトシ君を救うための100億の瞬間があったはずなのに、あんたはその全てを見殺しにすることを選んだんだ。
You had millions of chances to save him, but you chose not to do anything.
私は許さない、お前を許さない。お前が私だったらサトシ君を救えていたのに。
I won't forgive you. I'll never forgive you. I could have saved Satsuki-kun.
お前が私を奪いサトシ君を殺したことを私は絶対に許さない。
You took him from me and you killed him. I'll never forgive you for that.
私はお前を殺すだろう。絶対に殺す。
I will kill you. I'll kill you in the best possible way.
お前を一番残酷に殺す方法が何なのか、今日から毎日考えて過ごしてやる。
Starting today, I'm going to think of the best, most gruesome way to kill you.
シオンは私がそれを思いつくまでのわずかな日々をいつ殺されるのかどう殺されるのかに怯えながら過ごすがいい。
Shion, you better spend every minute fearing what's coming to you.
簡単には殺さない。むごたらしく殺す。
I won't just kill you. I'll make sure your death is long and miserable.
殺した後はサトシ君と同じ井戸に放り投げてやる。
And after you're dead, I'll throw you into the well.
そしてサトシ君にあの世で謝ってこい。
You better apologize to Satsuki-kun when you get there.
それが私を語り続けてきたことへの報いだ。
This is what you get for pretending to be me.
報い報い。
Do you hear me?
お前の罪。
That's your sin. Scream. The demon form of Mion was simply terrifying. I could only hold my knees and tremble. But now, I understand. If I was in the same position as that Mion, what would I think? What would I do?
わかる。わかるよ。
I understand. I understand.
うん。今、やっと気づいた。
No, I finally realized.
ミオン
Mion.
私、サトシの仲間としてベストを尽くしたつもりだった。
I thought I was doing the best I could as Satoshi's friend.
でも、シオンはそうじゃなかった。それ以上だったんだ。
But it was different for Shion. It was something more than that.
あの子の気持ち、私、ちゃんと理解できていなかった。
I never made an effort to understand how she felt. I recalled the exchange between Mion and Shion. It's true that Shion's reaction was a bit excessive, but thinking about it calmly, I realized that underlying feelings drove her. I think. Satoshi had been demoned away, but Shion was still thinking about him, even now. But she can't find him, and the more she feels that deadlock, the more it fills her heart with anger, sadness, and anxiety. That pain expands indefinitely, and eventually leads to suspicion and dark emotions.
二人で勝手に勉強でも何でも楽しくやってなさいな。
You two enjoy studying or whatever on your own.
お子ちゃまカップルが。
Have fun on your little baby date. Not again. I can't even imagine how Shion felt when she saw us while she was worrying about all that. Even though she normally would have let it slide, she was so sensitive then that she couldn't help but get spiteful. So who could blame her for hating herself, for feeling that way, getting overly worked up and being irritable?
私にはケイちゃんがいる。
I have you, Ki-chan.
でもシオンにはサトシがいない。
But Shion no longer has Satoshi.
確かにタイミングが悪かったな。
That's true. Certainly was bad timing.
うん、それだけじゃない。
No, that's not all.
私、シオンの気持ち分かった気になってちっとも分かってなかった。
I realized how Shion felt, but I didn't understand her at all.
シオンが不愉快になるのも当然だよね。
It's perfectly natural for Shion to be upset.
ミオン
Mion,
私、シオンの立場で考えたら全然何もしてあげられなかったんだ。
from Shion's point of view, the fact is that I made no effort to help her. Mion lowered her head. Her long hair hung down to hide her face.
情けないな。
How shameful of me.
今さらこんな形でやっと気づくなんて。
To only realize it now.
私って本当。
Seriously. I'm such a... person before me was not the future Sonozaki family head or the leader of our club. She was just a lone girl. And she was an older sister, thinking of her younger sister. And so, I was never feeling lost about how to respond to her.
ごめんなさいだろ。
How about saying, I'm sorry?
え、
Huh?
だったら謝ればいい。
If that's the case, you should apologize.
会えない相手じゃないんだし、悪いと思ったら ごめんってさ。
It's not like you're unable to meet up with her. If you think you did something wrong, say so.
シオンに謝ればいいじゃないか。
So why not apologize to Shion?
ケイちゃん
But
でも
Kichin. Mion remorsefully turned her gaze downward, and then she spoke like she was muttering to herself.
さっきのあれの後だもん。会ってくれないかもしれない。
After what that happened back then, she probably won't want to meet up.
電話しても出てくれないかもしれない。
She probably wouldn't even answer if I called.
今までのこと謝っても許してくれないかも。
And even if I apologize for everything up until now, she may not forgive me.
そうだな。
That's true.
でもそれを確かめるのはミオンだろう。
But that's something you have to make certain of for yourself, Mion. Right. Mion alone has to do that. Herself.
え
Huh?
やってみなきゃわかんないよ。
You never know unless you try.
それにそこまで強く思ってるならなりふり構わずぶつけてみろ。
Plus, if you feel that strongly, you can't hesitate to act.
ダメだった時は今度は俺がミオンを励ましてやるからさ。
And if it doesn't go well, I'll be here to encourage you next time.
ケイちゃん
Kichin. Mion rubbed her nose and wiped away the tears running down her eyes. Then she took a deep breath to calm herself and nodded to me.
そうだね。そう
Yeah, you're right.
分かった。
I understand.
夜あの子のマンションに行ってみる。
I'll try visiting her apartment tonight.
よし。
Alright.
ダメだったら電話する。
And if that doesn't work, I'll call you.
うんやっぱり
You'll call now. I'll call now. If anyone remembers what that reference is from. No, it's going to work.
ダメなことは考えない。
I won't even consider the notion of failure.
絶対うまくいかせるから。
It's,
応援しててよ。
it's definitely going to work out. So will you support me?
当たり前だ。
Of course.
ミオンは俺の大切な仲間だからな。
Mion, you're my precious friend.
ありがとうケイちゃん。
Thanks, Ki-chan. Mion gently held her hand out to me as she said that, and I quietly squeezed it with all my might. Even though it must have hurt a bit, Mion turned to me with a happy face. Give it your best shot, Mion. I'm sure it'll work out. And I hope Shion will make an effort to understand too. The only thing left for me to do is believe in the two of them. The non-judgmental caterpillar friend also wishes the best for Mion and Shion and their relationship. Alright, I gotta take a quick BRB here. We'll read more, but I gotta... Oh,
さあ
dessert.
ケイちゃん遠慮はいりませんよ。
Okay, I'll be right back. Give me a sec. Oh, this music is nice. Alright. We're back. Let's read one more section here, and then we'll switch to Valkyria Chronicles. I say. Shion says, come on, Kichan, don't hold back.
どんどん食べちゃってください。
Go ahead and eat it all.
ちょっと待ておい。
Hey, wait. Wait, hey. To my bewilderment, cakes, parfaits, and other sweet treats were being carried out, one after another. And the various colorfully decorated desserts were being sat down on the table in front of me, one by one. Thanks to that, the surrounding area was already rife with a sickly sweet aroma, and that alone was enough to make me feel full. The customers eating and drinking at the other tables looked awestruck as I watched the scene unfold. I mean, I'm overwhelmed enough as it is, so I'd like them to stop suspiciously staring at me.
さあ、どれからいきます？
So, where would you like to start?
どれもうちのパティシエ自信作ですからね。
Every single one of these is a work of art from our pâtissier. Is it a pâtissier? Pâtissier?
ちなみに私のおすすめはこれとこれと、あとこれとこれとこれ。
And by the way, my recommendations are this and this, then this and this and this. If you're gonna make recommendations, limit it to a single item. Whatever, it's not a big deal.
とにかく説明してくれ。
Anyway, I need you to explain this for me.
いきなりここに呼び出したらともかく、このケーキの山は一体なんだ？
Setting aside the reason you suddenly called me out here, what's with this mound of cakes?
せっかくですから夕飯をご馳走しようかと。
Huh? Well, since you're here, I figured I'd treat you to dinner.
お前の家じゃ食はパンの代わりにケーキなのか？このマリー・アントワネット。
Has cake replaced bread as the staple food of your household, Marie Antoinette? And just how many calories are in all this? Does she want to fatten me up like a sumo wrestler? It was right after I got home from school. Right after Mom and Dad told me they had to head to Tokyo for work. When I began checking our stock of instant noodles to figure out what to do for dinner, I received a phone call from Shion. Then she told me she had something to talk about and invited me to Angel Mart. And here I am.
それがなんでケーキの試食会になったんだ？
Why did this turn into a cake tasting party?
いいじゃないですか、ケイちゃん。
I don't see the problem, Ki-chan.
昨日お姉と楽しんできたんだから、今度は私も楽しませて。
You had fun with Sis yesterday, so why not have fun with me today? What do you say? Damn. You drive a hard bargain, Shion. The way she said that had an extremely bewitching sound to it, but wait, what am I thinking?
そんなことよりも。
That's not what matters here. I cleared my throat and decided to move on to the main subject. Otherwise, there's no point in bringing me all the way out here.
昨日どうだったんだ？
So, what happened yesterday?
すみません。
Oh, excuse me.
R 入ります。
I'm taking a quick break. The smile vanished from Shion's face. Then she signaled a senior waitress and sat down in the seat across from me. When I looked more closely at the surrounding area, there were no other customers near our table. Was it because Shion had the sense to keep other people from hearing us? Yesterday, I waited all night with my phone at my bedside, but Mion never called. And the next morning, when I arrived at our usual meeting place, Mion wasn't there. Apparently, she was taking a sick day. And what's more, even though Shion would normally show up, she didn't come to school that day. So naturally, we were all getting worried.
さっき聞きました。
I heard a little while ago.
お姉、今日休んだんですね。
Sis was out today.
電話しようと思ったんだけどな。
I was going to call her,
その前にお前から電話があったから。
but before I could, I got a call from you.
まったく。
Unbelievable. Shion scooped her hair back and had a bewildered look on her face, so she tried to calm herself by grabbing a glass of juice and chugging it without bothering to use a straw. And then, a harsh noise rang out as she slammed her glass down on the table, then turned my way and looked at me across the pot of cakes.
結論から言います。
Let's start from the end. Shion made a pained expression and leaned down on her elbows. That gesture had an overwhelming atmosphere to it, so I swallowed my spit to prepare myself.
問題、
The problem
すべて
is
解決。
completely resolved.
Eh?
Huh? I was caught by surprise and unable to understand what she meant, so I cried out in a stupid voice. When Shion noticed that, she grinned a devilish smile, then burst into non-stop laughter.
だから言ったまんまですよ。
It's just as I said.
心配しまくらせてしてやったりってな感じですが、おあいにくさまってやつです。
I realize you must be thinking you made me worried, but sorry, not sorry. Shion let out a strange giggle. In other words, it's safe to assume that Mion and Shion somehow managed to reconcile.
つうか、それだったらもったいぶらずに昨日のうちに言えよ。
So in that case, you should have just said so yesterday without, instead of putting on airs.
シオンもひでえが、ミオンもミオンだ。
Shion, you're terrible. And Mion too.
こっちは結構今の今まで気が気でなかったんだぞ。
I've been worried sick all this time. Ha 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 ha.
そりゃお互い様ってやつでしょ。
That feeling goes both ways, you know?
違いますか？リカちゃまとあちこち出歩いている浮気者の前原圭一さん。
Or am I wrong? Aren't you the one running around with Rika-chama Kechimibara-san? I couldn't say anything to counter Shion's sharp point. I certainly have been spending a lot of time together with Rika-chan. She's got me there. Still, I can't tell her the reason for that.
ま、その反論はいずれ聞くとして。
Well, I'm listening if you have a rebuttal.
お姉には私から口止めしたんですよ。もう少しケイちゃんに心配させろってね。
I told Sis you should make Ki-chan worry a little more.
どういう意味だよ。
What's that supposed to mean?
卒がなさすぎると男から見れば構わなくても大丈夫って思われるもんですから。
If she's too sincere with you, from a man's point of view, you might think it's fine not to worry.
気を引きたかったら他の女のことを考える暇がないくらい、もうちょっとケイちゃんにやきもきさせるくらいでないと。
If she wants to attract your attention, she should agitate you a little more so that you can't waste time thinking about other women.
なんてね。てへ。
Just kidding. Teehee.
可愛くない上に激しく誤解ってやつだ、それは。
Not only is that mean-spirited, but it's also a total misconception.
とにかく本題に戻せ。
Anyway, let's get back to the main topic.
はいはい。
Sure thing.
まあ、お姉と私ってのはちょっと語弊がありますね。
Well, it would be wrong to say the issue was between Sis and me.
正確には私と園崎家ってことにしておいてください。
To be precise, let's say it was between myself and the Sonozaki family.
今までだってお姉とは普通に付き合ってきたわけだし、別に私お姉本人を嫌ってなかったんですから。
I've always been able to hang out with Sis like normal. Never hated her, really.
そうだよな。
Right.
だけどいつも言い合いしてるのは仲がいいからって勝手に思ってただけに、昨日のあれを見るとちょっと分かんなくなってさ。
I always thought you two argued like that because you were really close, but after what I saw yesterday, I wasn't so sure.
もうケイちゃんそんな風に見てたんですか？
So that's how you saw it, Ki-chan.
でも好きの反対は嫌いじゃないですよ。
But like, isn't quite the opposite of hate.
好きじゃなければ無関心になりますから。特に私は。
If you don't like someone, you can feel indifferent towards them, especially me. Shion smiled as she said that. Maybe it was just my imagination, but her smile lacked its usual cynical slant to it. It was a radiant smile like she had just received a gift.
とはいえ、昨日が確かにヤバかったのは本当です。
Although, yesterday really was a risky situation.
お姉と話す機会がなかったら、絶好状態が当分は続いていたと思いますよ。
If Sis hadn't come over to talk to me, I think we still wouldn't be on speaking terms right now.
それじゃあミオンと話をしたんだな。
So, Mion did talk to you?
ええ。いろんな話しましたよ。
Yeah, we talked about all kinds of things.
最も最初はケイちゃんだから言いますが、私かなりイラついてて聞く気全然なかったんですけどね。
Well, at first, and I'm only saying this to you, Ki-chan, but at first I was pretty frustrated and didn't want to hear anything. Then, Shion told me about yesterday. When I got home, I threw a pillow at the wall in a fit. I was annoyed by the dull sound it made as it hit and then rolled to the floor, so I rushed over and kicked it into the air. Anyway, I really just felt awful. And it wasn't just because of Mion. Kechi was right beside her, but he didn't do anything to call her out for her cowardly behavior. In fact, he chased me away like I was in his way. What's with that attitude, after all we've done to support you? And, first date at the library? Huh, you two are so immature. How carefree do you have to have that much fun studying together at their age? I'm so pissed off. What good is Mion if she can't do anything when it really matters? It's been that way for a long time. Mion is trying to put on a good face for everyone so she can't speak frankly what she thinks. How miserable. She gets paraded around by the Sonozaki family and the people of Hinamizawa. What a hopeless fool. How annoying. It's sickening. It's driving me crazy. I'm getting irritated and resentful. It's frustrating. I know. These feelings swirling around in my heart aren't actually directed at Mion and Kechi. In fact, it's not really directed at anyone, so I couldn't find an outlet. I was starting to feel like I needed to vomit. It was painful, sore, and depressing. It was so hard to endure. I felt an emotion swelling up inside of me, and it was envy. Why does Mion get to have such a nice boyfriend? Why is Mion the village's golden child? Meanwhile, the boy I like is gone, and no one welcomes my existence at all. Tears came overflowing, non-stop. I should have been able to endure it. I thought that if I kept it locked in my heart, it would disappear someday. But in the end, it was impossible. Seeing the two of them having fun together, learning that a girl's boyfriend protects her like that, made me utterly mortified. I hated it. I couldn't help but feel that way.
Satoshi-kun.
Satoshi-kun. Satoshi-kun. Ooh. Tears spilled down to my bedsheets, leaving stains all over the place. Satoshi-kun, why did you disappear? If you were still around, I'm sure I'd be able to support Mion with all my heart. Even if Ki-chan butts in on me and her, I'd be able to calm myself by teasing him like this is getting steamy. I want to see you. I want to hear your voice. I want to talk. I want to gaze at your shy, constantly embarrassed face forever and ever. And I want you to praise me for working so hard to keep the promise I made. I've been working hard to take care of Satoko all this time. No need to thank me. After all, I enjoyed spending time with Satoko too. I was able to find a whole lot of great things about this girl that I never knew before. And I think she probably likes me too. And it's actually, thanks to me that she's able to eat squash now. So, tell me I did a good job. I want you to stroke my head like you used to. Rough. Huh? That bear. Just then the doorbell rang. When I raised my tear-filled face to look up, the bell rang again like it was chasing me. I looked at the clock. It was already pretty late. Who on earth would come here at this hour?
誰ですか?
Who is it?
シオン。私。
Shion, it's me.
おねえ。
Sis. I was a bit surprised. It wouldn't be that strange for an acquaintance of mine to come over at this hour, but Mion had never come here this late before. Not to mention, after our argument earlier, normally she'd wait a while for us both to cool off and then give me a warm phone call like nothing had happened. That was her usual pattern. I grabbed a tissue from by my bedside to wipe away my tears, then stood up. And then I spoke up, replacing my tearful voice with a deliberately distorted, guttural voice to vent my displeasure.
何ですか、おねえ。こんな時間に。
What are you doing at this hour, sis?
マナー違反じゃないですか?
That's bad manners, you know?
ごめん。
Sorry.
シオンと話したいなって。
Hey, Shion, I want to talk.
あいにくですが、私は何も話すことがありませんので。
Sorry, but I have nothing to say.
お帰りください。
Please, just go home.
早く帰らないと。
Go away.
ばあさんにきっと怒られますよ。
Go away! Granny's going to be upset if you don't get home soon.
いい。ばっちゃになんて言われても。
I don't mind, no matter what Granny has to say.
ね、そんなこと言われても私が困ります。
Well, even if you say that, it's a bother for me.
どうせばあさんのことだから、また私がお姉を足止めしたんじゃないかって考えるでしょうし。
It's Granny. She'll think I'm the one that kept you here.
そしたら結局、私が悪者じゃないですか。
And in the end, I'll look like the bad guy, right?
そうだろうね。
Yeah, probably.
だから、ここ開けなくていい。
In that case, you don't need to open the door.
ここから話すから。話聞いてほしいよ。
I'll talk from here. I just want you to listen. I let out an exasperated sigh. How stupid and naive can you be, oh glorious family head?
話したければどうぞご勝手に。
If you want to talk, feel free.
でも私、シャワー浴びたいんで。
But I need to take a shower first.
それでもよければ好きなだけ喋って帰ってください。
If you're okay with that, you can say as much as you'd like and then go home.
ありがとう。シオン。
Thanks, Shion. From beyond the door, I could hear sobbing mixed in with the sound of her voice. Alright, I'll take a shower. Let me grab some clothes and a towel.
私、サトシのために、私のできることをやった。
All this time, I thought I did all I could for Satoshi,
ベストを尽くしたって、今までずっと思ってきた。
and that I did my best.
バッチャとか、園崎の人間にも、いろいろ行き先聞いて回ったし、大石に疑われた時は、サトシが捕まらないようにって。
I asked Granny in the Sonozaki group where he went, and when Oishi started suspecting Satoshi,
お父さんに頼んで動いてもらった。
I begged Dad to do something to keep him from getting caught.
だから、サトシがいなくなって、どこに行ったのかわからないって知った時は、
So, when I realized Satoshi disappeared and there was no way to find out where he was,
正直、もうどうしようもないって、自分で勝手に納得させてた。
so, honestly, I was convinced that there wasn't anything more I could do. Yeah, I already know all that. Why are you bothering to say this now? It's totally ridiculous.
シオンとサトシの仲を知った時もそうだった。
It was the same when I learned about your relationship with Satoshi, Shion.
二人の仲を認めてあげてって。サトシはとてもいい子だよって。バッチャにも、園崎のみんなにも、一生懸命説得した。
I did the best I could to convince Granny and the Sonozakis that Satoshi was a good kid, and to allow you to associate with him.
でもみんな、うんってなかなか言ってくれなくて。
But everyone had a hard time saying okay.
悔しくて、悲しくて。シオンたちにごめんって、いつも思ってた。
It was disappointing and sad. I was always thinking of apologizing to you and Satoshi-kun. What's this? Confession? Does she really think that's all it'll take for me to forgive her?
ごめん。ごめんね。ごめんなさい。
Sorry. Sorry. I'm sorry. Ah, how annoying. Just go home already. Thinking that, I walked over to the door while brushing my hair.
シオンがしてもらいたかったのは、
But what you really wanted me to do?
そんなことじゃなかったんだ。
Wasn't that? Mion's voice was coming from beyond the door. Her words were tear-soaked and full of so much sobbing that I was having trouble hearing.
私、ケイちゃんのことを好きになって、やっと、わかった。
When I started to like Ki-chan, that's when I finally understood.
もしケイちゃんと私との付き合いをみんなに反対されたら、私、どんなことをしても認めてもらうまで説得してたと思う。
If everyone was opposed to a relationship between Ki-chan and me, I think I'd be doing everything I could to persuade them until they could accept it.
一生懸命じゃない。死に物狂いで、命だって投げ出して。
It wouldn't just be with all my might. I'd be desperate, willing to throw my life away.
それでもダメな奴がいたら、最後は殺してでも。
Still, even if people didn't accept it, I'd go so far as killing them in the end. Damn, what is this lunacy?
いなくなってもそう。
If he was the one who disappeared,
村全部引っかき回して、それでもダメだったら隣の町もその隣も探し続ける。
I'd scour the whole village, and if that didn't work, I'd move on to the next town, and the next, and keep searching.
日本全国探してもいなかったら外国にだって行って、
If I couldn't find him searching all of Japan, I'd go overseas.
見たっていう人がいたら 1% でもいいからその可能性にかけて。
If someone claimed to have a lead, even if it only had a 1% chance of paying off, that'd be more than enough.
それでも見つからなかったら、周りの人がみんな嘘言ってるんじゃないかって疑って、それよって聞きまくって。
And if I still couldn't find him, I'd start to suspect that everyone was lying to me, so I'd start pressing them for answers.
どんなことしてもケイちゃんに会いたいと思う。
I'd do anything to see Ki-chan again.
もしケイちゃんを殺した奴がいたら、私がこの手で殺してやる。
If there was someone out there who killed Ki-chan, I'd kill him with my own 2 hands.
そんな思いを。
And those thoughts.
さいな。
Shut up.
あんたはずっとこの1年ずっと思ってたんだね。
Shion, you've been thinking those exact same thoughts for the past year.
そんなことにも気づかずに、私は本当に最低だった。
And I never even realized I'm truly the worst. The most pathetic.
その先の力、その先の当時の力、
With the power of the Sonozakis, the power the Sonozaki family had.
もっと使い方がたくさんあった。
There had to be more that could be done using that power.
うるさい
Shut up!
うるさいうるさいうるさい
Shut up, shut up, shut up! No longer keep quiet. I spewed all the dark feelings I had been keeping in check until now and hurled them at my idiot sister on the other end of the door. I could no longer hold back the boiling yet freezing negative thoughts and emotions I had tried to keep locked away for so long.
今さら何を言われても、どう言い訳しても何になる。
Doesn't matter what you say now or whatever excuses you make.
サトシ君はいなくなった。あんたたちのせいでいなくなった。
Sachi-kun is no longer here and it's because of all of you.
すべて終わって、どうしようもなくなってから謝罪されても、サトシ君は帰ってこないんだ。
No matter how much you apologize, it means nothing after everything's all said and done. It won't bring Sachi-kun back.
ごめん。シオン、本当にごめんなさい。
I'm sorry, Shion. I'm truly sorry.
私がしなきゃいけなかったのは、あんたやサトシを助けることじゃなかった。
What I needed to do wasn't just to help you and Satoshi.
あんたたちの幸せを、どんなことをしても、何を引き換えにしても守ってあげることだった。
It was to protect your happiness, no matter what it took in exchange.
分かってるんじゃない。分かってたんじゃない。あんたは。
You do now. Or you do know. You did know.
なのにあんたは何もしなかった。
And yet you did nothing.
ミオンなのに。あんたがミオンなのに。私とサトシ君のために何もしなかったんだ。
Even though you're Mion, you didn't do anything for me and Sachi-kun.
ごめんなさい。
Sorry. I'm sorry, Shion.
もういいです。
That's enough.
そんな口先だけの謝罪。今さら聞きたくもないです。
I'm not interested in hearing your dishonest apology any longer.
気が済みましたか？
Are you satisfied?
だったら、とっとと帰って。
To go
お願
home.
いだから。
To go home already. Please.
シオン、聞いて。
Shion, listen.
私はケイちゃんが好き。
I like Ki-chan.
大好き。
I love him.
帰れって言っただろ。
That I don't know what that means. I don't know how that. It's a touchy. I mean, oh man, I don't know how that's supposed to make Shion feel better. I told you to go home.
だけど。
However,
サトシが見つかるまでケイちゃんとは付き合わない。
I refuse to date Ki-chan until we find Satoshi.
ずっと友達のままでいる。もう今日みたいに二人きりで出歩いたりしない。
We'll just stay friends like we are now. We won't go out together like today. Just the two of us.
他に誰かと仲良くしても黙って見ている。
And even if he starts to get a crush on someone else, I'll keep quiet about it.
はあ？
Huh?
何ですかそれは。
What is this?
あんたの自己満足に付き合って。
I don't want to waste time in your own self-satisfaction.
だから
So,
一緒に探そう。サトシを。
let's search together for Satoshi. What is this idiot saying?
おねえ、言ってる意味がわかりませんよ。
Sis, I don't understand what you're saying.
なんでサトシ君を見つけるためにそんなわけのわからないことをするんですか？
I don't understand why that has anything to do with finding Satoshi-kun. Because I'm an idiot.
どうしようもないバカだもん。
A hopeless idiot.
私だってサトシのこと探したい。どこにいたのか確かめたい。
I want to look for Satoshi too. I want to find out where he went.
でもこうでもしないとシオンの必死な思いに近づけない。
But if I don't do this, I'll never be able to understand your desperation.
だって私バカだから。
Because I am an idiot.
シオンと同じ痛みをずっと持ち続けていないとまたどこかで妥協しちゃうもん。
I'll end up making compromises again somewhere down the line unless I'm enduring the same pain you're going through. Back then, Mion put her hands onto mine. I looked at her fingers. 3 of the fingernails on her left hand looked as ugly as mine.
ミオ、
Mion,
これは
what's this?
どうしたの？
Tears rolled down her cheeks. She didn't have to answer. She had the same scars as I did. She atoned as well. The way those wounds were healing looked the same as mine. So, did she get these wounds around the same time as I did?
シオンだけが爪を剥がされるなんてかわいそうすぎるんだもん。
It was unfair that only you had to go through that. I felt so bad.
ミオン、
Mion,
お願いお願い、シオン。
please. Please, Shion.
遅すぎるって分かってる。今更だって言われても仕方ない。
I know this comes too late. It's only natural for you to call me out on that.
けど一緒に探させて。
But let's search for him together.
私あんたのサトシへの思いと同じくらいケンちゃんが好き。
I like Kichin just as much as you like Satoshi.
だけどサトシが見つかるまでずっとこの思いを閉じ込める。
But we'll keep those feelings locked away until we find Satoshi.
約束する。約束するから。
I promise. I promise you that. Idiot. You idiot. This girl, my one and only sister, is such a hopeless, complete, and colossal moron. What are you saying? What are you apologizing for? Back then, Mion really, truly was doing her best for my sake. Even when I had my nails removed, even though it had nothing to do with her, she endured it alongside me, didn't she? Even so, she still wants to share the pain with me. Once again? Think it through. Try hard to remember. Once more. The one who did something wrong was me, wasn't it? I was dependent on Mion and unwilling to move, just holding a grudge and feeling hatred toward everything around me, and throwing a tantrum.
あなたも大好きなんですね。
You feel love too, don't you? For Mion?
いえ、シオンのことが
No,
とっても。
for Shion. Very much so.
シオン、
Shion?
近所迷惑ですから
You're bothering the neighbors.
早く中に入ってください。
So, hurry up and come inside. Yay, I caught my breath when I found her curled up in the shadows by my feet. She was out here on the cold ground. She was kneeling with her head on the floor even though nobody was here to see it.
おね、
Sis? The tears came back, and they wouldn't stop. But why? The dark, heavy sludge smoldering in my chest was just a moment ago vanished, like it was purified. And my whole body felt light.
もう遅いですし泊まっていけばいいですよ。
It's getting late. You can stay here tonight.
一緒にばあさんに怒られましょう。
Let's make Granny angry, together.
シオン、
Shion. Without even thinking, we hugged each other. And then the two of us cried and cried and cried some more. If anyone around could see us, they couldn't help but think we were total fools. But even so, in the end, I couldn't help but love her. Aw, that's sweet.
まあこういう感じでして。
So anyway, that's how it was. I don't know why, but before that story, the flashback in the story unfolded, there was a weird part of me where she on here telling Kechi, you know, oh yeah, we already made up, it's totally fine. Before the flashback and everything, for some reason in my head, I was like painting the way she was saying it so flippantly almost was kind of like I thought she was lying to Kechi for some reason. Like, yeah, we made up. Don't even worry about it. Like, I thought for some reason it was gonna paint the picture that like, you know, like to me that just felt so in line, and I thought she was just gonna try to downplay it kind of thing. So before the flashback, I was like, oh, it's some lie, and they're totally still they're still that didn't take place, or I don't know why I thought that. But I thought that was funny. Funny enough that I had to explain it there. So anyway, that's how it was.
昨日は久々に2人一緒のベッドで寝ましたよ。
Yesterday, the two of us slept in the same bed together for the first time in ages.
そっか。よかったな。
I see. Thank goodness. I felt relieved and deeply satisfied to hear that things worked out.
で、せっかくだからってことで、実はついさっきまで一緒だったんですよ。
Well, since we had the opportunity to be together, we were actually still together until just a moment ago.
2人して学校サボって、どうでもいい話で盛り上がっていました。
We both skipped school and spent the day sharing boring chit-chat. Shion let out a weird laugh as she said that, and yet she had a cheerful smile on her face like an evil spirit had just been exorcised from her, which told me that their time together had by no means been wasted.
それでまあ、自称未来の義理の妹としては、義理の兄にも幸せのお裾分けをと考えまして。
So anyway, as a self-proclaimed future sister-in-law, I thought it'd be nice to share a little happiness with my brother-in-law.
ただ、ここのデザートでその10日を求めると、これくらいの量でもほんのわずかばかりなんですけどね。
But if you ask me, this quantity of desserts isn't nearly enough. Man, another side note, after the whole, like, you know, oh, Mion's embarrassed at the festival thing, and everyone's talking about how her and Kechi should be a pairing and all that, and it was a misunderstanding. Like, I thought that was going to be the extent of it, but now with this date thing, and now it's Shion saying, like, this has been a long, like, they're really leaning into the Mion and Kechi, you know, pairing situation here. It's interesting. But if you ask me, this quantity of desserts isn't nearly enough.
そのほんのわずかばかりを食い切れるかどうかは自信ないがな。
I'm not sure I can eat more than just a few of these. Nevertheless, I had more than enough sympathy for the happy feelings Shion had shown me, in which case, the only proper response is to take it like a man.
よし。俺もエンジェルモートの K と呼ばれた男。
Alright then, I'm the man they call K of Angelmore.
この程度のボリューム。すきっ腹にはなんてことないぜ。
I can demolish this volume of desserts and still have room for more.
ケイちゃんならそう言ってくれると思ってました。
I thought you'd say that, Ki-chan.
さあ、どんどん食べてください。
So, please go ahead. Keep on eating more and more.
追加オーダーもじゃんじゃん受けたまわりますよ。
And if you'd like if you'd like to place another order, just ring this bell, okay?
いや、それはさすがに勘弁。
No, I'll pass on that. No more.
そういえばさ、シオン。
By the way, Shion,
あの時高野さんからもらったスクラップ帳って一体どんなやつなんだ？
what on earth was that scrapbook Takano-san gave you the other day? I asked about the topic I suddenly remembered while wolfing down a fourth parfait. At the time, I wasn't able to see much more than the cover before Mion intervened, but I remembered seeing a variety of notes and all sorts of articles clipped to it. And by the way, Shion seemed to have thoroughly enjoyed her fill of the sweets and was now savoring a coffee. That's not fair.
もらったんじゃないですよ。
I wouldn't say she gave it to me, okay?
ちょっと貸してもらったんです。
She let me borrow it for a little while. After that, Shion said, wait a moment, and then rushed over to the coat closet before returning, and in her hand was the very same scrapbook from that day.
私がひなみ沢の鬼隠しについて調べてるって言ったら、役に立つかもって貸してくれたんです。
When I told her that I was investigating Hinamizawa's secrets, like the demoning away phenomenon, she offered to loan it to me in case it might help.
もっとも少し見てみたんですが、なんかオカルト色が強すぎて、すぐに読むのをやめちゃいましたけどね。
I did give it a bit of a look, but it leaned so heavily into the occult that I had to stop immediately. Shion handed me the scrapbook and I examined the contents. Indeed, there were clippings from dubious articles all over the place that mentioned weird stuff like mysterious phenomenon and aliens.
Huh?
Hmm? I noticed something that stood out somewhere past the middle and stopped flipping the pages. It was an article about people being demoned away in Hinamizawa.
これシオンも読んだのか？
Shion, did you read this part?
ああ、読みましたよ。お姉と一緒に。
Huh? Yeah, Sis and I read that part together.
お姉はよくもまあこれだけ嘘800をなんて笑ってましたけどね。
Sis was laughing her ass off and calling it an utter pile of lies.
シオンはどう思う？
What do you think, Shion,
鬼隠しについて。
about these stories? Huh?
ひょっとしてケイちゃん信じてるんですか？
Ki-chan, are you telling me you believe this stuff?
これって結構憶測と創作が入り混じったゴシップ記事ですよ。
This is a total gossip article. It's a mix of speculation and pure fiction, you know? Shion deeply laughed after saying that. Just like Mion, Shion didn't seem to believe the material at all.
まあ園崎のことを疑っていた時にこれを読んだら結構本気にしていたかもしれませんけどね。
Well, I might have taken it more seriously if I had read it when I was still suspicious of the Sonozakis.
昨日今日とお姉から話をいろいろ聞いているうちに気づいたんです。
But when I was listening to all those stories from Sis yesterday and today, I realized something.
鬼隠しのたたりは実は一貫性がないってことに。
There's actually an inconsistency with the curse demoning people away.
一貫性？
An inconsistency?
ええ、犠牲者が鬼隠しに遭う理由もだんだん曖昧になっていますし、
Yeah, the reason for the victims being demoned away has been growing increasingly vague.
そもそもダム工事にまつわって村の掟に逆らう人が対象となるなら、4年前現場監督を殺して行方不明になった作業員は？
If the curse targeted people who defied the village laws and were involved with the dam project, what about the construction worker who killed the on-site construction manager and vanished?
3年前の夫妻はともかく、2年前の神主の妻は？
The couple 3 years ago aside, what about the priest's wife 2 years ago?
そして去年の主婦とサトシ君は？
And then last year, the housewife? And Satsuki-kun.
そう落ち着いて考えていくと、別にこの人たちは村に反抗的であったわけではないとすぐに分かっちゃいますから。
If you think about it calmly, they weren't really enemies of the village.
それに
Plus,
それに？
plus. I repeated the word back at her, feeling like a parrot. Shion shrugged her shoulders. Oh, I'm choking. Like she was a bit surprised, and then shook her head several times and answered.
園崎家って実は何にもやってなかったんです。
The Sonozaki family actually hasn't done a thing.
たたりを起こしたのでも防ごうとしたわけでもない。
They haven't done anything to investigate the curse or anything to prevent it.
噂に怯えていたという点では私たちと同じでした。
They were just as afraid of the rumors as us.
C の言う通りなのです。
It's just as she says.
園崎家、そしてお涼はいつも大したことをしていたわけではないのですよ。
Oryu and the Sonozaki family were never involved in the major events. Rika-chan confirmed that Shion's story was correct. Even though people accused Oryu Sonozaki of abetting the kidnapping of Minister Inukai's grandson during the dam conflict 5 years ago, in reality she didn't have anything to do with it. But it massively intensified the opposition movement, and the huge campaign using all the Sonozaki family's resources was at its peak, so she subtly cashed in on people's natural denunciation of her.
じゃあひなみ沢の園崎家って？
So, the Sonozaki family in Hinamizawa...
本当の意味で象徴でしかないのです。
The truth is, their power is mostly symbolic.
そしてそれは君吉家、古出家の他の御三家にも言えること。
And the same can be said for the other members of the three families, the Kimiyoshis and the Furudes.
ただ村を一つにまとめ上げるために絶対的権威が必要だったので、3つの家はお社様という崇拝対象を作り上げて、関連した様々な事件をたたりとして扱いました。
However, since the three houses needed absolute authority to bring the villagers together, they built up an object of worship in Oyashiro-sama, treated these related incidents as the work of the curse.
それがたくさんの人の畏怖と曲解を呼び寄せて、鬼隠しというものが出来上がったのです。
By inciting fear in the masses and mobilizing that misinterpretation, the legend of people being demoned away was born.
なんかそれって迷惑な話だよな。
That's a pretty annoying story. Rika-chan smiled and said, "Meep," then shrugged her shoulders to respond to my honest thoughts.
仕方がないのです。工事現場の監督は現場の人にも評判が悪かったので、口論から発展と想像できました。
It can't be helped. It's easy to imagine the fight with the on-site construction manager developed due to an argument based on his bad relations with the people at the construction site.
でも賛成派だった北条家夫妻の事故はあまりにも象徴的で。
But the accident with the dam supporter Hojo family is far too symbolic for that.
僕も最初は園崎が裏で動いているのではないかと疑ったこともあったのですよ。
At first, I suspected that the Sonozaki family was doing things behind the scenes too.
でも園崎は何もしていなかった。
But the Sonozakis didn't do anything.
それはリカちゃんも突き止めていたんだな。
That's what you determined, right, Rika-chan? Rika-chan remained silent and deeply nodded. Seeing her like that, I wondered if I should ask this, but I turned to her with determination and spoke up.
リカちゃんは
Hey, Rika-chan.
ご両親がなんで亡くなったのか知ってるのか？
Do you know why your parents died?
それを聞いてどうしますか？
Why are you why are you asking about that?
俺の勝手な推論だ。
It's for my own pet theory.
シオンはこの鬼隠しのたたりにあった人たちの事件に一貫性がないと言っていた。
Shion told me that there was something inconsistent about the people being deemed away by the curse.
それは動機がみんなバラバラだからだと思うんだ。
I think it's because everyone's motives are different. The on-site manager 4 years ago was due to trouble with subordinates and supervisors. 3 years ago, the Hojo couple's case was just an accident, or because they defied the villagers and agreed to the construction project. The housewife 1 year ago was murdered by a thrill seeker trying to piggyback on the curse. Whatever the truth was, the motives behind the murders actually weren't consistent at all. The one thing the murderers had in common was the victims being an enemy of the village. Strictly speaking, it was doubtful if that logic even applied in the housewife's case, since she didn't really matter to the village. But that only served to highlight just how different the incident was 2 years ago with Rika-chan's parents. There certainly was a reason they were targeted, but all the elements like the killer's motive were so unnatural and inexplicable that it was impossible to develop a profile of the culprit.
2年前の事件だけなぜか人為的な動機が見当たらなかった。
For some reason, I can't think of even a single man-made motive for the incident 2 years ago.
単なる病死でなければたたりによるものとしか説明がつかない。
Unless it really was due to illness, there's no other explanation beside the curse.
その結果みんながたたりが本当に存在するのだと強く信じるようになった。
And that's why everyone started to so strongly believe in the existence of the curse.
つまりこの事件がきっかけとなってそれ以前に起こったものも含めた一連の事件が不可思議な現象に変わったんだと思う。
In other words, that incident changed everyone's perception of what happened the past 2 years, turning the series of incidents into a mysterious phenomenon. In other words, you could say that was the precise moment the curse of Hinamizawa was born. Rika-chan still hadn't yet said if Miotsukushi was responsible for her parents' murder, but if she was, it feels like the essence of this conspiracy is buried there. Wow. Rika-chan switched her tone of voice and smiled like she was impressed.
なるほど。そこに行き着いたのね、ケイイチ。
I see. So you've made it that far, Kechi.
大したものだわ。
Impressive.
私もそこまでは考えたこともなかっ
I'd never even thought about it like that. Rika-chan took a breath and kept quiet for a little while, like she was thinking something over. Then, she looked up at the starry night sky and spoke in a voice completely devoid of emotion.
た。病死
A natural death.
と言っても信じないのでしょうね。
Even if I told you that, you wouldn't believe it, would you?
でもまだあなたに話せる時期じゃないから詳しくは言えないけ
It's still not
ど、た
time.
たりでないことは確かに。
It's still not yet time to tell you the details, but certainly not the work of a curse.
そして人為的な動機が垣間見えないのも無理はないわ。
And it's natural you couldn't find an obvious motive for a person to have done it.
犯人はたたりを隠れ蓑に利用したんだから。
Because the culprit used the curse to hide it.
たたりを利用した？
The culprit used the curse?
その犯人ってやっぱり
In other words, in which case, sorry, I misread that completely. The culprit used the curse, in which case the culprit...
ここまでにしてくださいなのです。
Me, please leave it at that for now. Then, Rika-chan dispersed the cold aura she had a moment ago and returned to her usual tone of voice as she bowed her head. Honestly, I wanted to hear more, but I had faith she'd tell me someday, so didn't say anything more.
それよりもケイチ、
More importantly, Kichi,
その高野が持っていたというスクラップ帳見せてほしいのです。
I want to see that scrapbook from Takano.
ああ、これだ。
Sure, here it is. I opened my bag and pulled out Takano's scrapbook, which Shion had loaned to me. She loaned it to me who got loaned from Takano. Passing around the book, Rika-chan roughly grabbed it and began randomly flipping through it, and her mood gradually soured as she did.
これをシーやレナ、そしてケイチに見せていたのですね。
You, she, and Rina have all seen this before.
ようやくわかりました。
At last, I finally understand.
分かったって何が？
You understand what exactly?
このスクラップ帳、
These scrapbooks?
これが全てのトラップだったのですよ。
These were all a trap.
どういう意味だ？
What do you mean?
妄想は頭で描いている限りは妄想のままですが、どんなこじつけでも根拠が文章として示された途端、それは一つの理論となります。
A delusion is nothing more than a delusion as long as it remains inside your head, but as soon as that reasoning is written down, no matter how far-fetched it is, it becomes a theory.
そして自分以外の人間が書いた文章は自分だけじゃないと共感を呼び、雑誌などの媒体はあり得ることとしての信憑性を高める。
And seeing material written by other people gives you an empathetic feeling. It's not just me. Seeing it in magazines and other media makes it seem even more like an actual possibility. It lends it credibility.
だから園崎家やひなみ沢に疑いを持つ者がこれを読むと、自分の考えが妄想ではないと錯覚して、さらに疑ってしまうことになります。
So, if someone with doubts about the Sonozaki family, or Hinamizawa in general, were to read this, they'd start to believe their thoughts were more than mere delusions, and become even more distrusting.
人は見たい現実だけを見るってやつか。
You mean people only see the reality they want to see? I remembered reading something like that in a magazine somewhere in the past.
C はミーと和解したおかげでこのトラップに陥ることを逃れられました。
She was able to escape from this trap because she reconciled with me.
危ないところだったのです。
That was a close call.
このまま進んでいたら C はきっと
Had things kept going down that path, I'm sure she would have. Ah!
リカちゃん？
Rika-chan,
助かったのです。ケイチ、
you really saved the day, Kechi.
やはりあなたが仲間にいてくれて本当に良かったのですよ。
Honestly, I'm so glad to have you as a friend. Rika-chan had a bright smile on her face as she said that. I don't quite understand, but it seems like I did something to help her.
それにしてもさ、
Anyway,
何ですか
what is
ケ
it?
イチ。
What is it, Kechi?
このスクラップ帳は高野さんが作ったって言ってたよな。
I told you that Takano-san is the one who made the scrapbook.
だとしたら作った本人はなおのことをこれを事実みたいに信じ込んでるってことになるんじゃないか。
In which case, don't you think she herself still believes it's all true?
まるでタタリをその目で見届けたいみたいに。
It's like she wants to see the curse with her own eyes. Ah. It was just a casual comment, but Rika-chan's eyes opened wide as soon as she heard it, and then she began quickly flipping through the scrapbook. Then, the moment Rika-chan opened a particular page, she caught her breath and tensed up like she was frozen solid.
どうしたんだ？
What's wrong?
リカちゃん。
Rika-chan.
ええ、
Yes,
殺すわ。
I will kill you.
女王感染者の死体が作戦の鍵なの。
The corpse of the Queen Carrier is the key to this mission.
あなたはここから遠く離れた東京の地での醜い政治的勢力争いの具になるのよ。
You're going to become an ugly political tool far away in Tokyo.
そして 鬼ヶ淵村の伝説のピリオドとなる。
And then, the legend of Onikafuchi will finally come to an end.
まさか高野はタタリを人為的に発生させて村人全員を殺す気なの？
No way. Takano wants to artificially make the curse happen and kill the entire village? What? I was completely stunned by what Rika-chan just said. The driving force behind the conspiracy to murder Rika-chan was to annihilate Hinamizawa. Da-na-na-na. They're figuring it out. They're figuring it out. Yeah, I can definitely see why this is like an alternate ending, like, right? Like it's an alternate chapter 8 where different things are kind of happening, and obviously it's where we don't have Hanyu clearly in spirit directly, you know. But they're finding out and we're seeing different angles, so it's kind of nice. I kind of like this. I've been liking this one a bit. A little wacky, but it's fine. So yeah, we'll call it there for Higurashi. Like I said, we didn't read a shit ton today. Almost. It was more like 2.5 hours. I was gonna say almost 3 hours, but it's like 2.5. So, I'll promise we'll read some on Tuesday next week. We'll do a Tuesday and Saturday Higurashi, thing. I will say, over the last, like, week, I have more toyed around with the fact of taking, like, a Higurashi... I don't know if it's fair to call it a Higurashi hiatus. I've talked about how I've feared taking, like, even a break from Higurashi, these extra story arcs. I know they're not the most important, we finished the thing, but, like, in my head, I do know that there's a greater chance that I personally lose a bunch of steam and will never come back to Higurashi if I do take an extended break away from it. So I don't want to do that. And then I also, like I said, I don't want to have... I want to read all the Higurashi console arcs here, but I also don't want, like, if I take a break from it, that means it's going to be pushed even more deeper into the year, which isn't the worst thing, but, like, I'd rather get it done, experience it, and not have it hanging around. So, I don't know. I'm still kicking around ideas, but at least next week, the idea, assuming I stream on Tuesday and Saturday next week and nothing terrible happens or something, we'll read more Higurashi to get more done. I would assume... actually, I shouldn't even say that. I was gonna be like, oh, that we'd probably at least finish this arc before the end of March, but how could I even guarantee that? I'm trying to just pace it in my head just based on what we know of, like, Chapter 8 normally, right? But I don't have that good of memory of how long Chapter 8 was, and I couldn't even confidently say if this mirrors the length of Chapter 8 necessarily, but we'll try. We'll see. Like I said before, I'm pretty sure of all the console arcs, I think this one is, like, the longest by at least a little bit from my little research. So once we get this one done, I think the rest following it are going to be shorter and shorter, I think. So at least there's that, but I don't know. I might just be talking out of my ass completely. Who can say? I'm going to throw up a... sorry, I thought I advanced the line, but it doesn't matter. I'm gonna take a quick BRB. I'll get Valkyria Chronicles 4 set up, and I kind of just want to do that for the rest of the day. So, it'll be a little bit of a BRB. I gotta take care of just a couple things, but I don't want to, like, completely close the stream. So, I'll throw up a BRB screen. I'll be back shortly. Be back in a handful of minutes.